Woo, mama. Welcome back, everybody. Ben and Woods, good morning to you. 97.3 The Fan. And let's definitely get our heads right on a Monday morning. It's May 1st. If anybody does the It's Gonna Be May bit from Justin Timberlake, I'll stab you. And that includes you, Ben, and you, Paul, and anybody on Twitter. It's an auto block for me.
That was yesterday.
No, it's today, isn't it? Oh, tomorrow it's going to be May.
Yesterday,
I would have said.
Guess what's tomorrow?
It's going to be May. Yeah, I'll stab somebody if I see it. So just getting it out there now. If you do tweet it at me, I'll block you. I'm not joking. It's the thing that I hate most of the year. I'm even down for May the 4th be with you. I'm great. I think that's phenomenal, clever, and witty. But if I see Justin Timberlake on my feed today, that's how we're starting the show.
All right, I'm going to represent the segment of the audience, which we always forget about, that has no idea what we're talking about, because I have no idea what you're talking about.
Is that right?
What's the Justin Timberlake?
Paulie, do you want to explain?
Gonna be May bit.
There's part of a old NSYNC song. Instead of "It's Gonna Be Me," it's gonna be May. And
he says that's how he says.
That's
how
he says it.
It's gonna be May.
And there's a meme that has been going around for pretty much since then.
Since that happened.
That the last couple of days in April you would say, okay, "Hey, you guys know what's happening on Monday?
It's gonna be May."
Well explained.
Insert meme.
And you get it's an auto block today. I'll do a 24-hour block. So if anybody gets me, you get 24 hours in the penalty box. I hate it. Paulie, I hate it so much it ruins my day. I'm Woodsy. As you can tell, I'm in a great mood. That's Paul Reindl. He's our executive producer. Good morning to you, Paulie.
It's gonna be May. It's gonna be May.
May. Oh, God. I loathe that man. Loathe. It's not even a strong enough word. I digress. Paulie, how are you?
I think you have a weird obsession hate with Justin Timberlake.
Maybe. I don't know. I just can't stand him. I've never liked him.
Yeah.
I thought he was a goober. I think what it stems from...
You can't get past the fact that he was in a boy band.
That's one.
But you like Harry Styles, who also started in a boy band, and you like the Beatles, who were a boy band.
The Beatles were not a boy band. They were a real band. No, boy bands are put together in a garage. We've had this conversation. The Beatles met each other and said, "Hey, let's jam." That's not a boy band. A boy band is some fat pederast.
There were four guys in a band
together
who did pop music about love.
Yeah, in a band, though. They wrote their own songs. They didn't go to the studio and go, "All right, boys, we're going to do a choreographed dance here, and here's the words." They wrote and played their own instruments. It's not even close.
Well, then what's Hanson then?
They're a family. Those guys were brothers.
So they're not a boy band.
No, they
were
grew
brothers.
up together.
That's what I'm asking.
What?
Yeah. They feel like they would fit in that genre.
No, I mean,
it's the definition of a boy band.
No, it's pop. They're a pop band. They're not a boy band.
Just because they weren't put together by someone else, they were put together by their own parents.
Correct. They jammed music, and it's like what's the Partridge Family? They're a band that's a family.
In some way, the bands that are a family are even more orchestrated than the ones that are created by a music executive.
No.
Like the Jackson 5.
They're a family, but they came out singing, and somebody goes, "Oh, these guys are really talented," and then they signed them. NSYNC's one of the worst bands of all time, by far. And Justin Timberlake, the leader of one of the worst bands of all time. I loathe him. I don't know why.
But aren't sometimes those parents, whether they be sports parents or music parents, aren't they the worst promoters of all sometimes?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Forcing their kids to whatever, because Michael Jackson turned out so normal.
Right. Correct. Yeah, but anyway, I digress. To Justin Timberlake is the worst. He's the worst. The Canadian tuxedo picture, his solo stuff, it's horrendous. It's horrendous. I digress, though. Paulie is a fan. I'm not going to rip on what Paulie likes. It's okay if you like it. I don't like it.
I think he's talented.
I've heard that bit before, too, as well. Yes, he's very talented. It's not even hater-esque either. Like, it's just, I just don't like him. I don't like his curly hair, the whole thing. It just drives me nuts. That's where we're starting. For the third time, how are you, Paulie?
I'm great.
Great.
I'm in a better mood than you, apparently.
Benjamin Higgins is our Secretary of Homeland Exploration. I didn't think we would fight about Justin Timberlake this morning, but it is May after all, and that's what happens every year. I get very angry on this day. Benjamin, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. I didn't make it farther than my kitchen this weekend, really. Paul, you might want to get the Larry King drop ready just in a moment.
Oh, no.
I think Shelly has decided to Do I look heavier today? Like fatten me up for the slaughter? I mean, she did so much cooking this weekend. She made an unbelievable dinner on Saturday night, which included like a pork loin and risotto and salad, and then a homemade Oreo chocolate pudding pie for dessert, which was
Oh
incredible.
my God.
And you think that's enough, right? I mean, we got leftovers for days. She wakes up Sunday morning and does like a full brunch, like it's some holiday. Like, I don't know, the last Sunday in April is a major holiday with breakfast sandwiches and turnovers and oatmeal. And I mean, it was insane. I ate all weekend long, and now I feel like I'm a whale this morning.
So you didn't have to work or anything, right?
I worked last night, but
Yeah.
the rest of the weekend,
You
really
just ate.
ate, hang around, watch sports, ate, didn't do a ton. I did some cleaning around the house, clean the toilets. That's always fun.
Yeah, it's never a
Yeah.
good idea.
But other than that, quiet weekend.
I did not eat a lot, luckily.
But
We were on the go.
I want to know about your weekend because I saw lots of baseball, your kids, yourself.
Mhm.
I
Yeah, the
mean-
usual. We had T-ball on Saturday. It was great. So fun to coach the little tin caps, and they continue to improve. It's all you can ask for. And then I got back on the diamond yesterday. I won't bore you guys with the details. 2 for 3, 2 knocks, 1 walk, reached on an error on base 4 times.
Thank you for not boring us.
We got walked off on though in the ninth, which is like, so Paulie, I was thinking about it. I go, well, going back to fantasy camp where we did not win one game, I haven't actually been a part of a winning baseball game in 2 years. I was like, Paulie and I went 0-6 at fantasy camp, 0-7.
Was it
This is the fantasy camp before
the summer
summer-
fantasy mini camp in July of
At
22?
USD.
July
Yeah.
of 22.
We won a game.
I haven't won a game in a year.
Yeah.
Almost a year.
We
So-
went like 1-4 that weekend. But the one game we did win, we dumped the Gatorade bucket on Greg Garcia, who
Yes.
was our manager.
So it was fun, man. It was fun to get back and be out there with the guys. And I forgot how hard it is, that game. I forgot how hard it is. It's hard. It's hard to be on metal cleats when you're old. It's hard to run. It's hard to slide. It's all of it hurts. Everything hurts this morning, but I'm so happy to be back. And
Imagine then trying to breathe through 7,300 feet of altitude
my
and playing that game.
God. Oh my God. But listen, today's a huge day. A huge day. It's not only May. Fernando Tatis Jr. is going to be back in the house tonight at Petco Park. And it's like this is essentially another opening day. We've had about 3. This is our 3rd opening day. We had regular opening day. Then we had Fernando back, with the team in the lineup. And that was in Arizona. And that felt like an opening day. Everyone was giddy and elated. Then we have Fernando's return home to Petco Park tonight. And that feels like an opening day. I fully expect that place to be filled to the gills. I think it's going to be, the atmosphere is going to be insanity tonight to see him out there. And man, what a great series, to talk about from Mexico. So I was thinking about it. Somebody tweeted it too. It could take, I don't know what Paulie's got for the highlights from Saturday night's game. It could go an hour and a half. I mean, literally, it could be the longest thing ever. I mean, there was so much to talk about. So man, great weekend altogether. If you're a San Diego sports fan, you're pretty happy after how that weekend turned out.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about Fernando's return coming up. I will say this. He's always had a penchant for the dramatic upon his return. And I
Correct.
think everyone was sort of surprised he took an offer in his first game back on this road trip
Yeah.
in Arizona. Yet, has anyone noticed that he's put together a 7-game hitting streak
Correct.
since then? I mean, quietly, only 1 home or 2 home runs, but
2.
quietly, that's very impressive to have that level of consistency that early after you've been gone for more than a year from the game to just jump right in with a 7-game hitting streak. That's like the 3rd longest hitting streak in all of baseball right now. And it belongs to Fernando Tatis Jr. So maybe a slightly different way, but he's played almost flawlessly out in right field to come back to at a, essentially a new position that he's had limited experience. He's still doing the impressive thing when he's coming back. And I kind of almost appreciate how under the radar and quiet it's been in his first week of games here back.
Well, I think there's been a lot of numbers from a lot of guys and a lot, the team as a whole that have gone under the radar. I do. I still feel the Chicken Little syndrome is going around that right now after a really successful road trip. A really, really successful road trip. There's no other way to look at what just happened other than a success, a massive success. That's what you want every time, right? And a long road trip, 2 countries, 3 cities, and you're cruising into Petco with a 6-3 record in those games, and people still feel like the sky's falling. So that's a weird one for me to get my head around. No, Tatis has not come back and hit 7 homers in 7 games, but man, I mean, he was out a long, long time and is playing again, like you said, pretty damn good outfield. The attitude that everyone was worried about, all the body language experts, oh, is he going to mope and kick his feet around? The dude is having the time of his life, and brings so much to the team. So again, man, I don't know how you could be anything other than stoked about what's happened.
Took out the the pistol, threw it out,
Woo!
runner at third, and
made me
blew the
sweat.
smoke out of his pistol. I mean, the
So good.
kid still got it.
He's got it.
He's still got it.
He's got
This
it.
team is very exciting, and we got a taste of it, I think, for really the first time this season, the last couple of days in Mexico City. They got to enjoy themselves with some celebration, some fun, kind of a team building exercise almost. You go on a road trip like that, there's a little more bonding that takes place with the events that they participated in on Friday. We'll talk about all of it coming up this morning as we wrap up the weekend that was for your San Diego Padres. It's also a very exciting weekend in the playoff scene, both NBA and I watched some NHL last night as well. So we'll probably get to some headlines either in our Rindle report or elsewhere about what else went on in the world of sports. But as usual, we will focus in on the Padres, our Padres wrap up coming up at the bottom of the hour. Daily Ditty selection. We got a new week, got a new theme, and it's back to Woodsy's choice, I believe, this morning as we get started with some new songs when we return. Glad to have everybody with us on a Monday morning. Lots to get to. Like to see everyone on YouTube this morning. If you're listening on the Odyssey app or if you're just live on the radio, it's Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Let's get our first check of traffic right now with Kelly Danick.
Brothers, sisters, siblings is the theme for this week's ditty. I could have gone the obvious route, Benjamin. It could have gone, Oasis or the Black Crowes, and I still might if I retain another ditty this week. But I went with Radiohead, Johnny and Colin Greenwood, helping to make up one of the better bands in the last 40 years.
Could have gone with Hanson.
Could have
Like
gone
we
with
were
Hanson,
talking
like we
about.
talked about. You did inspire me. So that is Just by Radiohead. And the Brothers Greenwood, as it were. So there you go. That's your ditty. That's your theme for the week, fellas. If you Google sibling bands, you'll find a ton that you like and are able to choose from.
Speaking of brothers, I don't think they're actually related, but Jordan and Jake from Cespedes Family Barbecue
It could be,
seem
right?
like brothers. It's a Monday, grand old Monday with Cespedes Family Barbecue. Jordan's going to be joining us this morning at 8:35 to talk some baseball. From over the weekend, I have greatly enjoyed our conversations with Jordan and Jake over this past month as
Been
they've
a ton of
become
fun.
They're
weekly guests on the program.
I like the way we're doing it too, rotating, and
Mhm.
it's almost like they're competing every week to see who can be better.
Do
They
we,
both.
need, do we need to get them both on at some point
So,
together?
That's the thing. Is like, is
Like
that
once a month?
is that a too many cooks in the kitchen type scenario? Because they're both funny as hell. They're both super witty. But I have loved, honestly, man, I've loved all of our weeklies. I don't think anybody does it better. And I know I'm biased, but all the weeklies we have, everybody we've talked to it's been so fun. I look forward to Mondays because I know I'm going to talk to those guys.
So remember last week they talked about their new bit where a 4-game sweep, you need to break out something bigger than a broom.
Gotta
when
be
you
a mop.
actually get a 4-game sweep. So they call it you got mopped.
There's
in a
only
4-game
there-
series.
There's only been one mop this year,
all year.
and it's the Rays. And the Rays were on the verge of mopping the White Sox yesterday. And then they gave up 7 runs or something in the last inning and lost the game, which is very un-Rays like.
On the other end of the spectrum, the Padres just got out the dustpan.
Yeah,
The duster for the 2-game sweep
Sweep
of the
is
San Francisco Giants. in
sweep is
Mexico
a
City.
broom.
Yeah, 3 is a sweep, is a
4
regular
is a mop.
broom. 4 is a mop. You're really
A little-
cleaning really well.
Just a little,
just a
a
little
little teeny
for
tiny.
a small mess. You just clean that up and toss it in the trash, and then you're done with a little dustpan. And that's what the Padres had this weekend against the San Francisco Giants.
I can't wait to talk about these games. I feel like we probably have. I know Paulie has a different take on like Friday night's game.
Saturday.
I'm sorry, Saturday. It's so weird not to
I
have
have
a game on
I have no
Friday.
opinions on Friday night's game.
Yeah, Friday night actually went really, really well. There was no game to speak of.
Lakers won by 40 on Friday night. I can tell you
40
that.
points, yes. So I think that there's, I saw a lot of audio going around from was Sean Estes also a former Padre great as well?
He had
A cup of coffee.
I consider him more of a giant.
I picture him
but
a
yeah.
giant as well, but he had a lot of things to say. We'll probably get some of that audio for you. Look, I saw a lot of people up in arms about it. There's his opinions would have sounded different had the Giants come out on top on Saturday. I think we all agree that on Saturday he would have said this was really awesome. And we'll get into both of those games, but yeah, man, I'm excited. It was so nice to go handle business. That's what it was. That's really what it was. As fun as it was, as much dancing and partying and sightseeing and everything else, business got handled, and we can talk about just some of the numbers that we saw over the weekend that were staggering.
Yeah, and speaking of weeklies and Padres, Sam Levitt will also join us at 9:35 this morning in season. Sammy, I got a out of the blue text from Sam on Friday, the off day for him and the Padres. He asked me, "Do you know any good fish restaurants in Encinitas?"
And it was like you must have been like, oh my God, I got the call. It's like that kid Maggie getting called up to the Pirates. You were so happy.
I was delighted to be asked for my recommendation. Then I saw you outsourced it on social media and got a ton. The recommendations I made were also echoed on his social media channels, which felt good about. Fish 101 and Fish Shop are both decent spots in Encinitas.
They're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had
Love
somewhere
Fish
better?
Shop.
Fish Shoppy. Fish shoppy?
Ye old Encinitas Fish
Ye
Shop.
old
No,
fish shoppy?
it's just Fish Shop
No.
with just
SHOP?
SHOP. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
it's a chain.
Yeah,
It's a local
there's one at
chain.
Pacific Beach as
I
well.
used to go to the
Yeah, I didn't know there was one in PB. Sam said, "Oh yeah, I go to the one in PB." I said, "Well, then you don't want to
Yeah, you
drive
know,
all the way up to go somewhere you already go." I
Right.
said, "Try
how's that Mickey D's up
fish.
in Del Mar? Is that pretty good?
try
'Cause I
Fish
haven't
101."
tried-
there.
I haven't tried that
No
one
one by
yet.
my house, but
I usually go to the Mickey D's down in PB. How's the one in Del Mar? Is it any better? Yeah, I didn't know it was for fish. I thought it was just restaurants.
He asked me specifically for fish. I
Fish.
think everyone else got restaurants, but he was looking for a good piece of fish. I don't know what he ended up. Did you see
Dude,
where he
I
ended
like-
up going? I have no idea.
I like Fish District. You ever had Fish District? Fresh.
I have not.
Really fresh. Like good planks of fresh fish. Delicious.
Planks. That's always an
Planks.
appetizing way to describe something.
A plank of fish.
Plank of any food.
a liter of cola.
Yeah, liter cola. What was Sammy doing up in Encinitas? Just
I think it was
exploring?
his day off, so he thought he can finally get out and explore a little bit his community of San Diego. He works so much.
He does.
Feel like he's got a chance to had a day and get out of the Pacific Beach bubble.
And good for him. I hope he got his fish that he was looking for.
It's good. It's got those omega-3s.
Yeah.
And good healthy
Good
stuff.
for your heart.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right. So that was the Sammy at 9:35, Jordan Schusterman at 8:35 this morning. And then we will talk about the Padres coming up here. I don't want to start because we got like 2 minutes before the bottom of the hour. Anything else you watched this weekend that you want to throw out there?
I mean, I had such a crazy busy weekend. I worked Saturday night at the Seals game. So it was kind of I had my phone up. One of the funniest things that's ever happened to me. So one of the Seals players going to the Hall of Fame, Dane Doby is his name. He is legitimately the best in the world at his job. He's the best lacrosse player I've ever seen in my life. He's unbelievable. So I got my phone up in the penalty box before the game, and I'm like looking over my script, and they're doing their stretching, and he comes up. There's the little hole in the glass where they put the ball through. He leans in. He goes, "You watching the Leafs game?" I go, "No, I'm not watching the Leafs game." And he goes, "What are you watching?" I go, "I'm watching the Padres." He goes, "Who gives an F about the Padres? 140 games to go." He goes, "What's the Leafs score?" And I go, "Hang on, Dane. I'll get you the Leafs update." So throughout the game, I was updating him on the Leafs game, and they did win in overtime.
First playoff series victory in long time.
He gets thrown in the penalty box 3 times, by the way. I've never seen him in the penalty box. He gets in the penalty box. He's
just so he could watch the Leafs game.
So
with
he
you?
stewed. He was stewing for the first half of his 2-minute penalty. So after he calmed down, he looked over at me, and I knew he's like, "What's the update?" I go, "Leafs won in overtime." And he stood up and yes, and he punched the glass. He was so excited. But that was one of the better games been a part of as well. Saturday night was a blast at Pechanga Arena. The crowd was nuts. They were so into it. There was a fight at the end, which was awesome. Our guy kicked the crap out of their guy. These two teams hate each other. Hate Colorado Mammoth. And we got him again on Friday. Winner take all playoff game. First round of the playoffs is one game.
That's crazy.
Knockout. Isn't that nuts? Like you figure you make the playoffs. Okay, we'll do
You can have the best record,
Best
in the
record
league,
in the league.
and you lose once, you're out.
one and out.
I mean,
And
at
then-
least the Boston Bruins had to lose 4 times
Yeah.
with the best record in the league before they were actually eliminated last night.
So it's wild. Like I know the Dodgers are in town Friday. If you're not going to go to Petco, come to Pechanga. It's going to be bat-ass crazy. These teams hate each other. There were so many fights. Such a tough physical game. So that's going to be Friday at Pechanga. Get your tickets at sealslax.com.
By the way, Dan, who tweeted me last night, will you even talk about the NHL playoffs, or will your partner poo-poo it?
All right, Dan.
LOL.
Let's
There we go. We just
Dan,
talked a little NHL for you.
Let's
he brought up the Maple
STFU
Leafs
for a
himself.
second. I like hockey. I like hockey. I like football. Let's kill this narrative, Dan. Let's kill it. Let's kill it with fire. The NBA is really the only thing where I'm like, and it's mostly the Lakers. I don't necessarily want the Lakers update, but Ben's grandfather was the doctor for the Lakers, so he is literally grandfathered in. I like the NHL team. If we had an NHL team here, I'd
You've
be
said
painting
that
my
many
face.
times.
I've said it
Yeah.
1,000 times. I keep getting misrepresented, and it pisses me off.
The what happened to the Bruins, kind of like what happened to the Mariners when Paulie was growing up. What was that? The 2000
It just happened to the Dodgers.
Mariners. I mean, all time, like one of the all time best records. The Bruins had the all time best regular season record, and they played a team that barely was above 500 in the first round, and they got knocked out in 7 games. 3 of the losses at home, 2 of them in overtime. They lost at home 7 times all season.
Jeez.
3 times came in the playoff series
Guys,
against the Florida Panthers.
That's so mind-boggling.
It is shocking. Now, the thing is, this happens almost every year to the President's Cup trophy winner. That's the team with the most regular season points in the NHL. They've been eliminated in the first or second round in like 10 of the last 12 years, and none of them have even gotten to the Stanley Cup finals in the last dozen years. There is you could say it's a curse, but at this point, you just got to figure that having a great regular season in hockey just doesn't mean that much
It's not
anymore.
It's not just hockey though. It happened in basketball to the Bucks this year. It happened.
It happens in baseball.
All the time. I mean, when's the last time the team with the best regular season record actually won the title?
Kansas City Chiefs didn't have the best regular season record. They had a good regular season, but not the best record.
How about the Patriots when they ripped through all of those wins and lost in the Super Bowl to the Giants? It's a good lesson for all of us. Regular season's awesome, and the ups and downs of it are awesome, but there's only one thing that counts in sports, and it's how you do in the playoffs, right? Like, you don't care if you win the World Series at 80 games. You don't care.
And when you throw in the NBA, it totally validates like load management during the regular season.
Absolutely
which
does. Which you hate to
Unless
do.
you're the Clippers, and it doesn't help you at all after load managing Kawhi all year long. And
for them not to be ready.
Fair enough.
But he got hurt in the playoffs.
But when LeBron only plays 65 games or whatever during the regular season instead of 75, 80, 82 games, you're like, well,
and
he knows
honestly,
there's 3 months of playoffs.
He didn't do that much load management this year because the Lakers couldn't afford it to get into the playoffs. But other teams did it. It'll pay off for some. It won't for others. But it's been a wild postseason already in both the NHL and the NBA. But we got to get to the Padres. We'll get to our wrap-up. We'll start with yesterday's win. Felt completely different than Saturday's game, really, especially by the end, in which the pitching and the defense had a much larger impact on the game than did on Saturday. But we'll wrap them up both here over our next hour or so. So stick around, Padres fans. It's all coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Sour 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Big Box Storage. Visit bigbox.com. Need to rent a storage unit? Forget renting and loading a truck. Big Box Storage delivers the storage unit right to you. Loaded at your convenience, it'll be picked up and accessible in your storage unit. Need storage? Get the storage you need with free delivery and pickup at bigbox.com. All right. You get it all the time.
I do.
Paul, you get it as well. I rarely get FOMO. Fear of missing out. Kind of had it this weekend, though. I had friends who were down in Mexico City.
Yeah.
Obviously, a ton of tier ones who were down there tweeting about their experience, just watching it. Jesse, Tony, Dave, everyone down there seemed like they were having the times of their life. And I was actually kind of going, I realized why we didn't go. We don't do shows on the weekend. It might have been tough to make that trip, but I'm kind of regretting that we didn't find a way to get down there because, wow, what a weekend.
There was a small part of me that was actually like, okay, I'm glad I had the Seals game on the schedule because that's a commitment. And I made a commitment to do the PA and I can't miss it, right? I've never missed a game. I don't plan on missing games. And I was like, well, there's my excuse, right? Like I can't miss a game. So, but I'll tell you, I had it pretty bad. I thought the Padres social media team, give them a lot of credit. They blew it out, man. Everybody did such a great job in the organization. And it goes from the broadcasters to Bob to everybody. Like everybody down the line did a phenomenal job. Our man Danny Sanchez with the translation was just incredible. And of course the players, the players to be able to go down there and take care of business in those two games.
I loved all the videos from Friday when they were just hanging out
with kids,
rolling grounders, doing clinics, stuff like that.
Listening to on the way into the game on Saturday, I was listening to Tony and Jesse, and they were talking about the reach that the Padres have and the foothold that you want to get down in Mexico. And they were talking about Fernando Valenzuela and how when he burst on the scene, Ben, we've heard this before, but the city or the country would shut down. When he pitched, it would shut down. There was no other baseball available. The entire country would rally around to be by their televisions and radios to watch Fernando pitch.
Fernando Mania wasn't just a marketing slogan.
No, it was a real thing.
It was a real phenomenon in Mexico, especially.
And then they talked about, the Padres going down there, and Tony made the point. He goes, look, if some big leaguers put your team's jersey on or your team's hat on and they come out to the field and they're rolling you grounders and they're teaching you how to throw and hit, you are a fan for life. And I said, you are absolutely right. That's how they get you every single time. And I just thought they did a great, great job overall. Results on the field notwithstanding, they did a phenomenal, phenomenal job down there.
But the results on the field do help.
Absolutely.
You get a much better feeling about that trip when you go 2-0 compared to 1-1 or 0-2. So the results do matter. And it was a good weekend for the Padres. And we're going to start wrapping it up with the highlights from yesterday's 6-4 win. We'll do that right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your 15-minute instant drive-thru oil change. Get a little busier on our roads. Northbound side of the 805 before Market Street, there is a collision blocking the two left lanes. Also traveling on northbound 5 right around Gilman, we have reports of a stalled vehicle in the center divide. Tow trucks on scene of a crash southbound 15 at Felicita, trying to move that out of middle lanes. Couple vehicles involved. It looks like an accident cleared on the northbound 15 at Felicita. Stop by any of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change Centers. You don't have to get out of your car. It usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for discounts. Locations nearest you. Valvoline Oil Change Centers are open 7 days a week. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
I love winning, man. I love winning. You hear what I'm saying? It's like better than losing.
Miss any of yesterday's Padres game?
Did you catch a game last night?
Well, we've got you covered.
Thank you.
It's the Padres Wrap-Up with Ben and Woods.
Go! It's our house right here, baby.
Presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino, fun above all else. On 97.3 The Fan.
That is the ball game, and that is a winner. 3 balls and a strike. Now the pitch. Wade swings, hits it in the air, deep down the right field line. Here we go again. A home run. Just over the fence down the right field line. And just a handful of pitches into the afternoon. The Giants take a 1-0 lead. Lamont Wade Jr. has homered in both games in Mexico. So they were a little bit humidored, but not nearly enough. His pitch hit in the air to deep right field. Tatis backing up. He's at the wall. Leaps up. Gonna go. Home run for J.D. Davis.
That ball certainly acted like the balls from last night right there. Cut her away, down and away, and J.D. Davis, who's been struggling a little bit, connects on the long ball.
2-2 pitch, golfed in the air to deep center field. Yastrzemski's back, at the wall, leaps, hits off the wall. Going to be more extra bases for Nelson Cruz. He's at second, thinking about 3, gonna try for it. Here's the relay, not in time. Cruz into third base with a triple. Start the cycle watch now.
There was a piece of Nelson that was unsure about turning it on for 3. But I think he hit the bag and was like, let's do this.
Mitch Haniger leads off against Yu Darvish. Giants in front 2-0, and he hits one a mile to deep left field. Soto just turns around about midway up the bleachers above the Giant bullpen in left. And Haniger has homered for a second consecutive day. That might be the longest of the series. And 3-0 Giants here in the fourth. And the 1-1 pitch is hit hard and through into center field for a base hit. Conforto will come in to score. Davis will stop at second base. An RBI single for Yastrzemski. And now 4 straight hits for the Giants to open the inning. They lead 4-0. Now the pitch, and Nola swings, hits it in the air, deep to center field. Yastrzemski's back. This one gonna go! A 2-run homer for Nola. First of the year, and the Padres have cut the deficit in half. 3-1 hit hard through the right side and a base hit. Fernando zipping around third. He'll score easily. RBI single Juan Soto. Got ourselves a 1-run game. Big lead for Bogaerts. They don't hold him on. And the 1-1 is stroked into right field. That'll get down for a base hit. Soto didn't get a great read on this one. He's going to be waved anyway. Rounding third on his way. The throw will not be made. And he goes in headfirst to tie the game. Jake Cronenworth brings home Juan Soto. And it's 4-4 in the 8th. 3-2 again to Carpenter. There goes Cronenworth. And the pitch is hit in the air out towards left center field. Not deep. Could be trouble. Yastrzemski coming in. Dives forward. Can't make the catch. Both runs going to score. And the Padres lead for the first time today. It's 6-4 in the 8th. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swing and a line drive up the middle. Backhanded by Kim. Behind second base. Long throw to first. In time. Josh Hader closes it out with a 1-2-3 9th inning. And the Padres sweep the 2-game series here at Estadio Alfredo Harpelú and go to 15-14, heading home to Sweet Petco Park.
Once the wind started blowing in, it got a little different. And obviously you had 2 really good pitchers on the mound that both pitched deep into the games and pitched well. So it was a little different game than yesterday. But it just takes a lot out of you. You know, the travel and then being here and playing in the environment yesterday to today, a lot of emotion. There's just a lot more that went into 2 days than normally do. But we had a terrific time here, and thank everybody here for making it, you know, being so accommodating and making it such a fun time.
Padres with 6 unanswered runs yesterday.
Oh, love that.
To pick up the 6-4 win and sweep the 2-game series in Mexico City over the Giants. Bob said it also in another part of his post-game comments, but I think the most important stat of yesterday's game was Yu Darvish, 0 walks.
No walks.
0 walks. He gave up 3 solo home runs. He gave up 9 hits, but because of the no walks, he kept it efficient, got through 6 innings, and gave the Padres time to come back against a guy who's been one of the better pitchers in the National League so far this year. Alex Cobb has been outstanding for the Giants early, and he was outstanding the first few innings, but they eventually kind of wore him down a little bit, got one good swing off of him, pulled within 1, and then rallied against the bullpen like they did on Saturday with 3 more in the 8th inning to pull out the 6-4 win yesterday.
Again, it's just different guys getting it done on a daily basis, Ben. I mean, what an opportune time for Austin Nola to get his first bomb of the year. I can't even imagine how good that felt to cut that lead in half, altitude, whatever. He hit the ball hard. He barreled that baseball, got it out of the yard, and it just massive for this team. And it gives you a little bit of spark. You know, Manny had a rough day, 0 for 4 Ks. You're not going to see that too often from him, especially after the game he had the day before. It just goes to show you, again, you want to believe. You want to believe, all right, that got me going. I'm ready to go. And then you come out the next day and you can't see the ball and you have terrible swings and terrible ABs and you're just not seeing, you're not picking it up out of the pitcher's hand. It's just, that's how hard that stupid game is, that, it doesn't necessarily guarantee you're going to go on some torrid, streak just because you hit a couple of bombs and it's just really hard to do. So, but it's a different guy every day, stepping up and getting the job done. Carpenter with a huge knock, and Crony continues to play really good defense at first base. I mean, it's a bit of a revelation watching that guy.
Second, played them both at an outstanding level. And yeah, there was some luck that played into the winner yesterday.
Yeah,
you could see when Carpenter hit it, he was mad. He felt like he just had popped out for the final out, and the inning was going to be over. But Mike Yastrzemski was playing very deep. And
as you should.
Apparently, he had a bit of a hamstring injury already that the Giants hadn't really talked about, which limited his ability to sprint forward, and nearly got there, nearly made a great play.
Hit him in the glove, yeah.
But was unable to come down with it, and it ended up being the difference in the game. That's something you can't plan for if you're the Padres. That's baseball. That's why the best teams are going to lose 60 games and the worst teams are going to win 60 games, because in baseball, you're going to have a lot of games that are decided on kind of a whim of fate. And in that case, the Padres put themselves in a position for something good to happen, but it took a whim of fate for that good thing to actually happen there in the bottom of the eighth inning.
I mean, think about the Cubs series when Trent Grisham, comes in on a ball, gets a late break, the wind knocks that down, it drops. Next guy hits a home run.
Yeah,
I mean, it
goes the other way.
It goes the other way plenty of times, and it just, if you can, you got to ride the wave a little bit. So that's exactly, bless you. That's exactly what happened. I mean, you were the benefit of that play, and but again, and you got to put the ball in play. You gotta continue to fight even when you're down 4 runs. I loved that comeback yesterday.
Great job by the bullpen,
Luis Garcia, my lord,
who had not gotten off to a very good start this year, but came in with 2 perfect innings with a couple of strikeouts. Setting up Josh Hader, who's been outstanding with his 10th save of the year. And what I really liked about the 2 games as a whole, I can't say that every single member of the roster contributed, because they brought 27 guys. I don't think Brandon Dixon got in. I don't remember seeing Rougned Odor, but I could probably make an argument that
still on the team.
I mean, the starting pitchers, who didn't pitch in the series, but I could make an argument that 19 to 21 guys actually contributed to the Padres wins in the last couple of days, did something to help out the victories. And it wasn't the same guy both days. I mean, Manny had the huge Saturday, went over 4 with 4 strikeouts yesterday. And yet the Padres still found a way to win a game 6-4. The bullpen, just about everybody who came in the 2 days, helped out a little bit. I know Steven Wilson didn't have a great performance on Saturday, but had a lot. I mean, Nick Martinez on Saturday. We'll talk about that game coming up.
What pitchers did have a great performance on Saturday?
Nick Martinez did. I will say that. Nick Martinez
damn
did.
MVP of that game. Good Lord.
Tom Cosgrove.
When he went in there, I go, oh, God. Like, every pitcher that they throw into a game, welcome to the fire. I mean, holy smokes. That was like Dante's Inferno. Like, it was more than just, all right, get in there, kid, and see what you can do.
But I like how the Padres lineup is starting to come together a little bit.
No doubt.
Feels like what they were trying to create, which is that depth. They do a feature on Jesse's radio broadcast with Tony, where Dixie Line Lumber sponsors Here Comes the Lumber. I think it's like the 2, 3, 4 hitters where they're coming up. Jesse always goes, and here comes the lumber, brought to you by Dixie Line Lumber. Dixie Line's been bringing you Padres on the radio since I was like 3. I mean, I remember listening to Jerry Coleman in my bed growing up talking about Dixie Line Lumber.
Yeah.
So they've been around forever. But I always laugh when he says, here comes the lumber, because it's right after Tatis comes up. The lumber is always up for the San Diego Padres.
There's a good chance that everybody in that lineup brings the lumber.
Yeah.
That's a Dixie Line who I go to when I get all my lumber, because I have
lumber all the time.
It's just, my wife's like, no more lumber. And I'm like, I have to. If I need lumber.
Lumber is a funny one.
It is funny. It is funny.
Lumber.
What are you doing today? I'm just going to run down to Dixie Line, grab some lumber.
I mean, it can mean just big pieces of wood.
Oh, yeah.
Or, I kind of lumbar.
Lumbar.
That's different.
That's your back.
That's your back. You get the lumbar support in your car.
If they dropped off lumber at my home, what would I even do with it?
Burn it.
Saw
Start a
it?
fire.
Just saw? Have fun sawing it?
Just hammer nails into
Ooh.
2x4s.
It's so
like
funny
that.
because I liked that when I was a
Nice
kid.
dangerous thing to do for children.
Absolutely. Yeah. So thank you, Dixie Line Lumber.
but the
Thank you
lumber-
to the
the
Padres
lumber's
for bringing
kind
the
of-
lumber.
The lumber's kind of always up. I mean, yesterday's lineup was especially felt long with both Cruz and Carpenter in there. I know you give up a little defensively with Carpenter at first base instead of Crony, but going Cronenworth 5, Cruz 6, Carpenter 7. You feel like, holy cow. And then, Grisham can get hot too. So then you got, him at the bottom of the order. The only guy that you don't think is really lumber is Austin Nolan, who had a ball further than anyone for the
Right.
Padres than Austin Nolan did yesterday. So
Guys stepping
it's a
up,
lot of
man.
lumber.
I love it. Guys stepping up, and again, who knows? Who knows if it will carry over? There's just no way to tell, but you certainly like how this team has battled. Dare I say?
all right, we will get to the highlights of Saturday's win.
Whew, strap
And
in.
then we'll be back at about 8:30
Yeah.
with Jordan Schusterman.
Seriously.
Citizens Family Barbecue.
Good Lord.
All guests
Poor
on Ben
Paulie.
Woods appear on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet find new roads. So it won't take that long. We'll still play Take on Woods.
I'll give
Actually,
you one.
we got a special one-off 1 week prize for Take on Woods. We
Oh.
get some Dodgers Padres tickets for you.
Ooh.
So be ready to put on your competition hat against Woodsy coming up next on hand.
And one, here's the pitch. Tatis swings, pops it up, right field. It's carrying though. Conforto's at the wall. This one gonna go. Fernando's all fired up, and the Pods are back in front. 9-8. I think the altitude got a hold of that one pretty good.
Oh no! Listen, Jesse's call was not inaccurate. It was certainly a pop-up to right field. But on our scorecard, it's going to go down as a homer.
You know, Manny's ready to join the party. 0-1 pitch is hit well in the air, deep to left field. Haniger at the wall. Here's your invite, Mr. Machado, a home run. Pods go back-to-back for the second time today. 10-8 San Diego in the fifth.
This is unbelievable.
Holy cow. I mean, that's a game that we're not going to forget for a very, very long time. Welcome back. It's Ben and Woods, hour number 2 on a Monday morning here on 97.3 The Fan. 4 sets of back-to-back home runs in the same game. 11 homers by 10 different players, which set a major league record, I believe. 10 different players hitting a home run in that
like
game.
Firing up the Xbox or the PS5 to MLB The Show. Padres versus Giants, simulate it like
Easy mode.
play on easy mode at a small dimension stadium and just see what happens.
It was awesome. 5 Padres, Manny twice, Nelly, Tatis, Xander,
Soto.
Yeah. Good Lord.
Really the biggest 5.
The biggest 5.
All going deep in that game, putting on a show for close to 20,000 who packed the stands in Mexico City. Lots of them coming down from San Diego and Tijuana to watch the game. I know a ton of people who were down there for the game. And man, the sky was getting kind of purple with like the sunset happening in Mexico City. It reminded me of that game when everyone came back to St. Louis Cardinal.
Friday night game. Paulie was there. I was there. Yeah. I go, I'm out on this one.
At Petco Park when the sky was orange and the Padre, I think they were beating the Cardinals. Like 12-1 or something. I mean, it was just it had that kind of feeling to it. Yeah. Of course, the Giants had plenty of offense of their own, scoring 11 runs, and I know it wasn't that much fun for Joe Musgrove. I loved his attitude, though.
Of course,
where he said, "Yeah, this was not fun for pitchers, but I love that game nonetheless." I mean, one of the more fun games we've ever played, even though he had to wear it and will continue to wear it on his stat line for probably at least a couple of months. That bulge in the ERA is not going away anytime soon.
Yeah,
for Joe Musgrove.
Steven Wilson's like, it was. But I mean, again, you did get some big outs. Tom Cosgrove making his major league debut gets 1 out, and then snakes and vultures a win in his first appearance, which is just amazing. But Nick Martinez, really the unsung hero. But let's sing him. If he's unsung before, he's sung now. He was incredible. 2 no-hit innings, 5 Ks. The thing that surprised me, Ben, and again, you hear, altitude. Okay, well, we see what happens in Colorado, so when you hit it, the ball flies. Arizona got some altitude too. It's dry. The ball flies in Arizona. Our golf balls all go further in Arizona. When we play golf out there, we get it. I guess I didn't realize just how much it affects the baseball. And then the fact that they did the humidor they did it the same as they always do instead of deadening it a little bit more. I guess they probably wanted the juiced balls a little bit, but dude, I mean, 27 runs, holy smokes. Before the game, the over-under on runs on Saturday night's game was set at 15.5. And I laughed. I go, 15.5
for a baseball game.
It's an ungodly number. That hit in like the 5th inning, 6th inning. I mean, it was already crushed. The next day, yesterday's was 20.5. I go, all right, it's not going to happen back-to-back days. The thing that surprised me, though, not no one, a lot of people did, but a lot of people didn't see the correlation between bad pitching and altitude. Like, it's higher than Colorado, where it's hard to pitch in Colorado. I saw somebody say Musgrove's got to go. He's washed. I'm like, what? The slider doesn't slide. Like, it just doesn't. Your cutter doesn't cut. So your fastball, I mean, if you throw really, really hard, you may get away with it. But when those guys can go up there and basically sit fastball, they'll time you out and you're going to get hit a little bit. So I tweeted it. I said, you can't get mad at guys for nibbling because if you throw it down the middle, there's a good chance it gets hit 430 feet. So the walks are really what hurt on Saturday night. But Sunday, like you said, Darvish limited the walks and, got his outs and ground through 6 innings for us, which was phenomenal.
I think Tim Hill said the same thing. He tried the breaking stuff and was like, this isn't
No
working
chance.
at all. So he said, I'm just going to reach back and throw as hard as I can and try to throw it in different areas.
Yeah.
Maybe I can get some swings and misses. And that ultimately ended up what was the most effective strategy from pitchers. Now, that's not a long-term strategy for success in Major League Baseball.
No.
You just throw a bunch of fastballs.
Hey, guys, here comes the heater.
You're going to get destroyed, but, for 2 days, and that's your best option. That's what they went with. And I think it worked. And I think the fact that Sunday's game ended up with a more reasonable regular score. I mean, yes, the wind started blowing in a little bit, made Saturday even more special. I'm glad that it ended up as a one-off and there weren't two, 18-10 and 16-11. That 16-11 is going to sit there as a special, memorable day for the Padres and a great win and something I think we all enjoyed. And, quite frankly, we can talk about this coming up. We need a contestant first for Take on Woods, a couple of minutes away, 833-288-0973. It was a win that a lot of people think will be at the turning point, the catalyst, something that jumpstarts the offense and sends the Padres on a run going forward. And it may, but I think that we need to proceed with a little more caution that I'm seeing from not just Padres fans, but even some of the players and their comments this weekend about what that offensive production and output is going to do for them going forward. I am more of I'm going to wait and see kind of mode to see what happens here in the next week or so before I proclaim 2 days in Mexico City as the moment that, lit the fuse under the 2023 San Diego Padres.
I mean, that's a smart way to look at it. I'm somewhere in the middle. Yeah, I mean, it's a baseball season. There's no other way to go through a baseball season other than let's wait and see. Like, this was an anomaly. I don't think with them winning 2 games in a row is an anomaly and battling back. That tells me a lot about the makeup of this team. You love how the chemistry seems to come together right now, but that's something I felt was missing a little bit early. And remember what we told Bob on Friday when we let him go. Tell the guys to have fun. Boy, they sure had fun.
Those pinata parties.
They look like a blast. I mean, they were having a blast. They had the sombrero going. It was great.
That I
the
think
sombrero, the new thing.
That's the new bit.
Coming back, right?
Coming back.
It sounds like it's coming back with the Padres, and we'll see that as a home run celebration. And that I think can do nothing but good. Is for the team to come together with some camaraderie and feeling good. Whether or not the offense carries over, I am quite skeptical that even when you come home against the Cincinnati Reds team and facing a pitcher tonight in Luke Weaver, who's got like a 7-something ERA, don't expect 12 runs on the board from the San Diego Padres. I'd love to eat my words tomorrow. I really would.
I'd love to feed them to you.
I think that going from that altitude of Mexico City to Petco Park is going to be a shock to the system for everybody a little bit.
So you're calling an L tonight.
I'm not calling an L. Again,
the perfect storm, though. You got Blake Snell on the bump. You've got tired, exhausted, acclimating again. A bit of a letdown.
I mean, it could be a 4-3 win. It could be something like that. But I don't know that the offense simply keeps it rolling right through this homestand because they got some home runs in Mexico City.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, momentum. You thought Manny was going to go on a tear, and he struck out 4 times yesterday. Momentum in baseball is kind of a tough sell, especially for individual players. But I don't know. I mean, all I know is that you keep winning series. You have successful road trips like they just did, 6-3 road trip. And I know they technically count as home games. Massively, massively successful. I'm happy. I'm happy and
then
proud
just flip
of them.
it. And hey, the homestand's already off to a 2-0 start.
Yeah, there you go, Paulie. I like the way you think. I like the way you think. We're already 2-0 at home. I like that.
Love that.
All right. We'll get some of your thoughts. Maybe here's some people who went to Mexico City coming up here at the bottom of the hour at 7:35. Love to, if anyone made it back. I know there were some planes that got delayed on the way home last night.
Our boy Tier 1B George, one of our favorite Tier 1s out there, said, I got to call in and tell you guys tomorrow. So, Georgie, if you're listening, and I know you are, crank up the old phone line.
Right now, though, let's play our first game of the week. It is time for Take on Woods. We got Grant on the line. Good morning, Grant.
Morning.
All right, so I have to let everybody know that our usual getaways to Las Vegas will be back. But this week, instead of a trip, you're playing for Dodgers Padres tickets for Friday night's game. They are on sale now at padres.com/tickets. It's probably a surprise that they even have any left, but there are a few left if you want to get them yourself. But you can win them here on Take on Woods if you can beat or tie Woods.
You're gonna have like a 1 out of 1 chance.
Yeah,
You can beat Woods.
I hope someone qualifies. Honestly, we may give it away on Friday if no one wins this week.
Yeah.
At all. So get in, Grant. You got a great shot to win. Here are your categories to choose from. Still have Do the Do sitting there. We got the mystery category, and we've got Get Busy Livin', which is 5 songs that include the word livin'. So of those 3, Grant, Do the Do, mystery category, or Get Busy Livin', what would you like to play?
I'll do Get Busy Living.
Yeah, I know. I figured as much. I can't sell those other 2 categories. They're just sitting there. All right. Who needs that last G? Today we've got 5 songs that all include the word livin' in the title. You'll have 60 seconds to get as many as you can. Then Woods will come back. He'll get his 60 seconds. You beat or tie him. Put you into the drawing this week for the Dodgers tickets. First song is our 2-second song. Paulie, going to play you a short clip of a well-known hit. You need to give me the title, including livin', and the artist to score the point. Grant, are you ready to play?
Sure am.
All right, here we go. 60 seconds on the clock. The category, Get Busy Livin'. Your time begins when Paul plays our music. Good luck, Grant. Let's take on Woods.
Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi.
Correct. Singer Ricky Martin made his English language debut with which 1999 mega hit?
Living La Vida Loca.
Correct. In one of their biggest hits from 1976, Electric Light Orchestra sings It's a Terrible Thing to Lose after which title line?
It's a Living Thing.
Correct. In 1992, Los Angeles riots inspired which Aerosmith song from their 1993 Get a Grip album?
Pass.
Huey Lewis sings I'm taking what they're given because I'm what in a song he wrote during his time as a truck driver?
Working for a living.
Correct. The 1992 Los Angeles riots inspired which Aerosmith song from their 1993 Get a Grip album?
Oh, Living on the Edge.
Yeah, very
Hey.
nice. Great. You are qualified. You got it right before the buzzer as well. That's a perfect 5-for-5 score. Woods can't do any better than that. So hang on the line, and Paul
Got
will
one
get your
qualifier.
information during the break. Now it just remains to be seen if Woods can match that or if he takes the L. All right. He did not hear that part of the competition. He does not get the category. Grant's score is locked in. Reset the 60 seconds in our 2-second song. Woods, your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's take on Grant.
It's Living on a Prayer, Bon Jovi.
Correct. Singer Ricky Martin made his English language debut with which 1999 mega hit?
Is that La Vida Loca? Living La Vida Loca?
Correct. In one of their biggest hits from 1976, Electric Light Orchestra sings It's a Terrible Thing to Lose after which title line?
Pass.
The 1992 Los Angeles riots inspired which Aerosmith song from the 1993?
Living on the Edge?
Correct. Huey Lewis sings I'm taking what they're given because I'm what?
Working for a living.
Correct. In one of their biggest hits from 1976, Electric Light Orchestra sings It's a Terrible Thing to Lose after which title line?
I know, I can hear it. Something living.
Seconds.
Living on these nuts. I have no idea.
Incorrect.
Close.
It's a living thing.
Oh, it's I always
It's a
thought it was a little
terrible
thing.
thing to lose. No, it's a living thing. Category was Get Busy Livin'. 5 songs with livin' in the title.
Good.
4 against Grant's 5. So
Oh,
you
man.
today, Grant,
Brutal.
congratulations.
Nice job.
An outright win to start the week, which means if you want to pick a daily ditty as well, or tomorrow, you can stick with the theme of bands with siblings or not if you don't want, but get all that information to Paulie during the break. But congratulations, you're qualified for the Padres Dodgers tickets for Friday night's game. See if anyone else qualifies this week on Take on Woods after a perfect week last week for Woods. starts with an L this week.
No,
Totally
I-
different feeling.
I want to get some tier ones out to the Dodgers
That's true.
Padres.
I'm sure.
game.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
why I did
you
it.
want to have more than 4 or 5 people there
Yes.
on a Friday night.
Yeah.
It's going to look bad if the place is completely empty.
Yeah,
for a
100%.
Dodgers
Let's get some
game.
asses in the seats. You're welcome, guys, on me. So
Now, of course, there will be people there because Woods lost.
Yes. Man, it's been a minute since I'm on a bit of a losing streak, man, after the game yesterday and this is not good.
Well, that's all right. I mean, what does it really cost you? You made people feel good. You made that other adult baseball team feel good.
Yeah, very
You
good.
made Grant feel good.
Good job, Grant. That was, 5-4. Yeah, you tip your hat. Those games happen.
He came back to living on the edge, and right before the buzzer came to him, you could hear the light bulb go off in his head.
Did you tell me some breaking news about Aerosmith this morning, by the way?
I did. Yeah, they announced their final tour. This is it.
This is it. Okay.
It's done. The Peace Out tour for Aerosmith just announced their last concerts together.
Been a band a long time.
Or they
buddy.
go their own way, maybe more solo work or something. All right, we got Don't Do This coming up next, and we'll maybe get some calls from Padres fans who went to Mexico City. More thoughts on the weekend. All coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station. Let's get another check of traffic with Kelly right now on 97.3 The Fan.
Don't do this.
It's time for Don't Do This.
What were you thinking?
3 stories from the world of sports that make us all shake our heads.
Why? How many times do I have to tell you?
I'm sorry, I fudged up, guys.
You idiot. You moron.
The apple sometimes does fall from the tree.
Don't Do This
Do not tweet that.
with Ben and Woods
I like a Nickelback song or two.
on 97.3 The Fan.
Baseball season is here. Did you know that, Woods?
I've heard.
I know you're
That's the rumor.
obsessed with the playoffs right now. Live coverage of every Padres game on 97.3 The Fan is now available through the Odyssey app. Wherever you are in the San Diego area, you can listen to every pitch of the Padres game on Odyssey. Just download the free Odyssey app and search 97.3 The Fan to get started. And we get started. Don't do this. We'll start with the Chicago White Sox. A couple of different things here. Their losing streak reached 10 on Saturday.
They had a no-hitter
Yeah.
into the 7th.
They were up 3-0.
Yeah, they had a no-hitter going.
And they lost.
They gave up 10 runs.
12-3?
Yeah.
That was
that's
10 runs after 1 inning.
Yeah.
After no hitting the Tampa Bay Rays.
Correct.
It's pretty crazy. There was a moment that went viral in one of those games. First inning, Luis Roberts hit a little chopper off the end of the bat, nubber, and it was tough play. And they got him by just a hair at first. The only problem is Luis Robert really seemed to be just jogging down the line,
Cadillacing
all the way down. It got just nipped by. I mean, it couldn't look much worse in terms of the hustle.
Yeah, they Pedro Grifol benched him,
Pulled him out of the game.
and then his excuse after the game was not great either.
He said, what happened was last Friday night, I hustled a lot
the night before
down the
by
line.
way.
Yeah.
yeah.
Today, my legs were a little tired. My right hamstring was a little tight. Then I decided just to play conservative today. I think my mistake was I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell the manager because I knew if I said something to him, he probably wouldn't let me play.
So if that's true, you should always tell the skipper, like, hey man, just so you know, my strings are a little taut right now. The strings are a little taut. I can go, but I'm not going to be able to go full speed. You still want me in there.
He was also trying to think of his own bench coach's name and couldn't come up with it.
Yeah, he's been there 3 months.
Charlie Montoya.
Yeah, he's been there. He's been there. They know each other.
But there's a second part to this Don't Do This story. So the White Sox, playing the worst baseball of the year by any team, gets the big lead treatment, just like Max Muncy did a couple of weeks ago from our friend Ryan Phillips, who wrote about Max Muncy's epic struggles and how he's washed. And since then, he's hit 11 home runs and leads all of baseball.
Torrid pace.
Well, this time it wasn't Ryan. It was Kyle Koster who wrote the story. The Chicago White Sox are in complete shambles. And he posted that, I think, just as the White Sox were about to play another game. And they were about to lose again.
Oh, yeah. Getting bodied.
And what happens? They score 7 runs
in the ninth.
The bottom of the ninth inning to walk off the race and win yesterday to end the losing streak. I assume, based on the big lead jinx, that the White Sox are about to win 13 of their next 15 games and get everything okay again on the south side. There was no one at the end of that game.
No. Let's monitor that. Because if that's the case, we're going to have to admonish them to not write anything positive about the Padres whatsoever.
But anything negative, go
for it. Yeah. Pound the Padres.
I mean, Manny went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts yesterday. Write a whole piece about it, please.
Get him. I will go to I've called him my favorite NBA player is Dylan Brooks. He's my favorite NBA player because he is a clown show. I mean, he is a total sideshow. And the Grizzlies lost to the Lakers, Ben. Lakers have knocked them out. And Dylan Brooks had a lot to say after they would win a game. You know, you talk about LeBron and how LeBron's old and he's not that hard to defend and blah, blah, blah. We all know his comments. Well, after they got beat, he bailed. He packed his stuff and left and got fined $25,000 for failure to participate in team post-game media availability. You have to face the music even after a tough L, right? Or you get fined in the NBA.
Well, remember what he said. I don't respect anyone until they put 40 on me.
Yeah.
What did the Lakers beat the Grizzlies by
40.
in game 6? 40.
So here's the other thing. Yes, this is going to cost him $25,000. Also going to cost him more. Guess who's a free agent? Dylan Brooks. And if you're an NBA GM owner, you're like, I don't want that guy. Like, he needs a serious check. Because listen, I think he can be a valuable player, but nobody wants that circus on their squad. He's not that good to have that big of a circus attached to him. And the funny part is it showed him, it looked like about 15 minutes after the game, he was in Cancun already. Like, Paulie, he was there. Like, he packed his bag. I don't even think he showered. Packed his bag, hit the private jet.
The game get over at like 10 o'clock.
Yeah, he's there by midnight, I think. Tearing it up in Cancun. A well-deserved vacation, I guess, for Dylan Brooks. But yeah, the free agent part is really, really weird. They did an article on CBS Sports that talked that, like, things like this literally could cost this guy close to 10, 15, 20 million dollars in free agency.
Can I do a don't do this for LeBron as well?
Sure.
I loved how he handled it during the series. Just let all the play do the talking.
Oh, the rap song.
But then he came out with some social media yesterday. First he had, if you ever see me fighting a forest with a grizzly bear, help the bear. And then he said, unlike you little bleep, I'm a grown-ass man, big shoes to fill, bleep, grown-ass pants. Probably hustled with your pops. Go ask your parents. It's apparent you're staring at a legend who put a few little bleep in the place before trying to eat without saying the grace. I don't think he needed to say anything.
I think his play spoke for itself.
I think it already spoke for itself.
But he was feeling it. He was feeling himself.
He certainly earned it if he wanted to. But all right, finally, a little do this on a Monday.
DD mega doo-doo.
Didn't think we were not going to bring up the NFL draft, did you? I mean, let's go straight to the most important round, the 6th round of the NFL draft. And we'll go to your Dallas Cowboys, Woodsy, who were waiting
They're not my Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, but you did
What
live
is
in
happening?
Dallas. They were waiting
Here
to
in
make their
Dallas.
212th overall selection. And they had all their, the brain trust in the room, Jerry Jones. They had all the, the GM, the scouts, whatever. They're all sitting there. And they call up one of their scouts. Jerry does. His name is Chris Vaughn. And what Chris Vaughn didn't know was that they were about to select his son, Deuce, a running back out of Kansas State.
Deuce Vaughn.
And
is a
there's
great name.
there's some audio of this.
Hey, buddy. How's it going? Hey, it's going good. This is Dad. My phone wasn't working. Look at here, man. You want to come to work with me next week? I wouldn't mind that. I got somebody want to speak to you.
Hey, Deuce.
I don't know when I've been speaking for everybody that's really in the heart of the Dallas Cowboys is standing here with a tear in our eye. We're so happy to have you on the Dallas Cowboys.
I can't thank you enough.
Well, what I really want to say, you earned every ounce of me being able to make this call. I'm so excited. There's just something magical about this moment that may be bigger than we even realize here talking to you on the phone. But you is now a Dallas Cowboy. Your daddy just handed the card in. Right here.
Yes,
It's got him on it. Congratulations.
Hey, Deuce, Mike McCarthy, congratulations.
What's up, Coach? I appreciate it.
I'll tell you what, I've been doing this a long time. This is so special for you and your father and your family. If you could make sure you drive, so make sure your dad's on time for work, we'd appreciate it.
I can do that.
Deuce, man, congratulations. One of the coolest things I've ever seen in football was your dad making that call.
That was great.
Dude, that's amazing.
And,
So cool.
with Ezekiel Elliott now gone,
Yep.
free agent, maybe an opportunity to back up Tony Pollard
Play a little bit.
get a chance to make the team and maybe get some carries this year as well for Deuce Vaughn
That's
out of
so
Kansas
cool.
State, son
Deuce,
of
we're so
Scott
happy to have you.
Chris Vaughn. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
That's-
Really, really good feel-good stuff.
Don't and do this for a Monday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
I know you said Tier 1B George was down there, wanted to call in, but I want to open the phone lines when we come back. You were down in Mexico City, had that experience. Did you make it back? Are you still down there? You can call us now, 833-288-0973. We want to hear everything we missed. My FOMO, just keep rubbing it in.
I
You
know.
were down there. We were not. We want to hear all about it, and we will get to your calls coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All guests on Ben and Woods appear on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet. Find new roads. And our phone lines are open, especially want to hear from anyone who was down in Mexico City or still down there. 833-288-0973. We're going to get out to those phone lines right after check traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the Premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Big Box Storage. Looks like double trouble on southbound 5. There's a collision right before the King Freeway. It's over the right shoulder. Then up ahead before Imperial, another crash. This one involves a big rig and a car. That is over to the right shoulder. Got a car fire in the North County, eastbound at 56. This is just past Carmel Country Road. Got the slow lane block. Keep in mind, we've got some light rain drizzle around the county, leaving us with some slick roadways. So you want to definitely take it extra carefully, especially on those transition ramps. Need to rent a storage unit? Forget renting and loading a truck. Big Box Storage delivers the storage unit right to you, loaded at your convenience, and it'll be picked up and accessible in your storage unit. Get the storage you need with free delivery and pickup at bigbox.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Looked like an early arriving crowd in Mexico City. I mean, the stands were packed from pitch one. Now, it was a small stadium, Estadio Alfredo Harpelú.
It's a fun stadium to say.
He's also one of the part owners of the San Diego Padres with Peter Seidler.
Who plays in that stadium?
The Mexico City Red Devils, his team. He also owns that team as well.
We need to pull their numbers.
Stats.
I want to see what their numbers are.
8 home runs a game.
I mean, they've always played in Mexico City, so I've got to imagine that's. I mean, the altitude's not new. They didn't just move up there.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's you wonder how the pitchers like pitching there. Probably not well, but you wonder, do they adapt to it after a certain amount of time? Colorado Rockies have had some successful seasons. They made a World Series, but we've never really seen a full adaptation for the Colorado Rockies.
They've never won a division title.
I remember a few years back they were talking. I can't remember who it was they signed, but it was somebody on the broadcast. Oh, this is a real, he's a sinker baller, so he'll keep the ball.
Mike Hampton.
Maybe, yeah. And he was, I think he was okay there, but the sinker doesn't sink like it does in St. Louis. It doesn't sink like it does in Arizona. It's just different. And so it's got to be a challenge to pitch there. A lot of fun if you're a hitter. Oh, my God. That's a golfer or a baseball player there would be a lot of fun.
Let's get out to the phone lines. 833-288-0973. We got Jorge calling in this morning. Hello, Jorge. You're on Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good. Doing great, man. How about you?
Good, man. Just got back from Mexico City, and I got to say, man, what a time of my life I had down there, man. Everything from the atmosphere, from the game, everything was just amazing. The food. I was paying $8 double tequila shots for like a tall can. I can't say anything more than that, man. It's just, you guys, I got to say, you guys missed out quite a bit.
We know. It sucks. It's terrible. I'm embarrassed. I'm mortified.
Did you see the players? They had the clinic, but they were also doing like tequila tastings, and on Soto, they were tasting tequila. They were having a good time as well. This was a work trip, but they wanted to make sure they enjoyed themselves while they were down there.
As they should. Yeah. As they absolutely should, man. Life is very short, and those are those moments that don't come around very often. I'm so mad that we didn't go. I'm so jealous of everyone that went, but I'm so happy for you too.
They did the piñata celebration for both games. I was surprised that it took, I think Nelson Cruz did it on Saturday. And honestly, for a guy who makes a living with his bat, I was surprised it took him as many hacks as it did to get to the center of that Buzz Lightyear piñata.
It's always
Matt Carpenter did a better job with just a couple of big whacks yesterday.
It's also a weird thing at a kid's birthday party. The little kids, like 4 years old, you're like, we may be here all afternoon. Yeah. Here, let me just break the seal here, bud. Just whack the crap out of it, but
you're blindfolding a kid and asking him to swing a stick.
It's really smart.
It's never really
smart parenting as usual. Yeah, we had one for Bo's 4th, I think, and it was like, all right, this is a nightmare.
All right, everyone 10 feet away, big, large circle, stay away from the swinger. But I thought Matt Carpenter, good contact. Nelson Cruz, little bit of a miss hit there.
I mean, I saw
They had 5 hits, so I'm not going to complain too much.
I saw a Cardinals fan tweeting last night about, how ridiculous it is. And people really don't enjoy other people having fun at all. Like, they really don't like when teams have fun. And I think baseball is a really fun sport. Let these guys live a little bit and celebrate that once in a lifetime experience to get down there and play. It was really cool.
Let's go to Hugo. You are next up with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Good morning, Hugo.
Hey, what's up, fellas?
Hey.
How are you?
Good.
Just got back from Mexico City.
Nice.
I'm on my way to work now, so I'm a little bit bummed. But we were there for a week, and we went to the first game, and it was amazing.
I'm so jealous.
It looked like it was incredible. I mean,
a little bit nerve-wracking that first game. I mean, the Padres pulled away late, obviously, but that was a lot. That was a lot to handle for a viewer.
I mean, they trailed in both games late, 7th or 8th inning.
Yeah, that was a lot to watch for somebody in the house, which you were.
You know what? It was great. I mean, I knew it was going to be a high-scoring run, and that's why I bought my seats over in the bleachers. I was hoping to maybe get a baseball, but you would just see the balls flying overhead. It was ridiculous. It was awesome, man. And you know what? We were my wife and I were thinking about you guys. We're like, oh man, I know those guys are so bummed that they're not here.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah,
we were.
Hugo, thank you for the call. My friends, Scott and Abby, they went down, and Abby was texting me. She said, we just missed catching one of Manny's home runs on Saturday. They were outfield, and he said the guy right in front of us caught one of the Manny home runs. Of course, most people walked away with a home run ball on Saturday.
Yeah,
who sat in the
most
outfield
did.
Bleachers, so it wasn't that spectacular that you were near one of them.
Just missed that one. Just hang around for another
Actually, it would
5
have been
minutes or
unusual
so.
if you weren't near a home run ball on Saturday with what was going on. And speaking of the fun, what did you think of the Nick Martinez, Sean Manaea standoff for the national anthem?
I'm not the world's biggest fan of the standoff.
It's not your favorite.
It's not
bit.
my favorite bit.
Paul, you like the bit.
I think it's great.
It's not my favorite.
Not every day.
I don't. So here's the part. Now Nick Martinez.
And look
won.
how much it fired up the team.
If you don't
They
know what
loved
we're
it.
talking about, it's a bit we've seen in baseball before, where one guy on each team after the national anthem is over, when they've lined up on the side, the foul lines, everyone else goes back, starts getting ready for the game. Guys start going onto the field to warm up, but you stare at the other guy on the other side, and the first person to leave the foul line and go back to their dugout loses essentially. Now, there's nothing difficult about just standing there. It's not like you can't blink or you can't move or anything. You just have to remain there. What makes it hard is that the umpires start coming over and saying, hey,
wrap it up.
You got to wrap it up. We got a game to play. And they start threatening like, hey, I'm going to have to toss, you can't do this anymore. So it's more of a mental battle than it's not physical at all, but it's a mental battle to see who can withstand the heat from the umpires, I guess, longer than
It's just
the
goofing
other guy.
around. It's goofing around. Those are two guys that were teammates last year.
Neither of whom were going to play on Sunday after, Manaea started and Martinez pitched 2 innings of relief. So they were probably both knowing, oh, I'm down today, so I can have some fun. And if I did get thrown out, it wouldn't be great.
Did Manny running up to Martinez and wiping some sweat off his brow?
Put those sombrero on for some shade. They got everything going for Martinez.
As far as bits go from the weekend, the Rey Mysterio Lucha Libre masks were incredible, and the guys walking out to the bullpen in them was amazing. That I loved. I loved the sombrero bit. Man, they had a great time, and really, honestly, most importantly, came away with 2 much-needed victories down there. You would have hated to drop one of those games, man. You would have hated to drop one of those games. So I will say this, too. I think the most impressive thing of the weekend for me was the first time I saw Fernando walk out in the City Connects, and I went, whew. Yes, I will agree. There's a couple of guys in my DMs who are like, we got to get rid of these sherbet-looking uniforms. I always
he's the prototype.
I write them back always and say, buddy, they're not for you. They're really not for me either. I have a couple of things. I look okay in it. That dude was made. Austin Nola looks weird in
like
them.
when Nike or
Bob
whoever.
Melvin looks weird
Yu
in them.
Darvish
Yu
looks
Darvish
kinda
looks a little weird.
Tim
Fernando
Hill.
is like, oh, it just like
they were designed for him.
They were made
Like
for
Nike
him.
or whoever put those together, the brain children, they had a graphic of Fernando Tatis
That's-
Jr. up, and they're
that's
like, all
the
right,
one.
let's try this color scheme. Let's try this. He was the guy
That's the one.
in mind.
I
for
mean,
sure.
he looked unbelievable in those uniforms. Unbelievable. Yeah, and again, just I'm not even calling you names. I'm not calling you boomer or anything like that. They're for the kids, man. They really are, and you can't keep them in my house. They're like hotcakes. I mean, you can't keep them on the shelves. It's bananas, but they're made for that kid. He looked so good in them. I love how much fun they had. I love how much they seemed to come together as a team. They were all out doing stuff together. It was great. There was one of our friends, Mary, was at dinner, and she was live tweeting her dinner where everyone came in. She's like, "Oh my God, here's Peter Seidler. Oh my God, there's
Can you imagine how happy you'd be? I have all the restaurants
And all
in
the
Mexico
restaurants in
City,
Mexico
a city
City.
of 10 million people.
Massive.
I picked the one that everybody in the Padres is coming into tonight. Yes.
What a score! Like what a score to end up at the same restaurant as all the guys, and it looked like everyone was just having a blast. So, hey man, on to the next one. Cincinnati's in town, and you're going to be facing a couple of big arms, and you do fear a little bit of a letdown. Certainly,
I do. I mean, the team talking about how this is a jump start. Like
I hope so.
Spark plug for the season.
It's also baseball.
I feel like the atmosphere won't be a problem. Atmosphere will be great.
Oh, tonight's going to be
Petco Park's atmosphere is
crazy.
always great, with Fernando Tatis Jr. playing his first home game in more than a year and a half. It's going to be an electric atmosphere. What you will not have is the ball jumping off the bat. Have you looked outside? May gray is in full force. It's supposed to be 60 and cloudy and cool.
Fantastic.
We have a drizzle overnight the next couple of days, and showers expected on Thursday. Now that's an off day for the Padres, so hopefully we have no rain during the games. But ball ain't going to be flying here at Petco Park. It's going to be the exact opposite of Mexico City the next 3 games. You're going to crush one, and it's going to die like 10 feet short of the warning track at Petco Park.
Just do what Nelson Cruz did and just hit it hard up the middle, like he did off
What's
of Sean
what's the
Manaea.
elevation of Petco Park? Like 2 feet above sea level?
Yeah, 2.
Because I can walk right over to the sea level.
Yes.
And without really going down at all.
Yeah. Just barrel the ball up the middle. Singles are fine against the Reds. Hit with runners in scoring position. You're a way more talented team. You need to win 2 of 3 at least against these guys, at least, and keep the good mojo working.
We'll have to have a bet on our whiteboard.
Yeah, I'm up 10.
It usually involves former players, and there will be a former player coming to town, of course.
He's sick, though.
Oh, he is.
Will Myers?
Is he
Oh,
sick?
yeah, he's out.
No, he's out.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he
sick.
is. It said illness.
Illness.
No idea what that means.
Could he be back, or is he?
I think he was on the
trip, the illness list.
I think he's on the 10-day IL. So we will not be seeing Will Myers this series, by my understanding.
Right.
If I'm wrong, please let me know. I'm sure you
That'll
will.
be a bummer for everybody. I think the Padres are looking forward to seeing him as well.
Yeah, anytime you can grab 3 or 4 Ks in a
The
game,
latest
you got to take that.
on his player card Friday. It said Myers is not in the lineup for Friday's series opener against the Athletics. Myers was placed on the injured list Thursday with an undisclosed illness. He can be activated at any time.
Okay.
It's the COVID IL, not the 10-day IL.
Ah.
But it's unclear whether he even traveled. I don't know if he was there or not in Oakland.
Okay.
So
I mean, maybe
could be a little bit of an unknown then.
Yeah.
For the next couple of days.
Like he was on the COVID IL?
Yes.
Okay.
Which doesn't mean he had COVID. It just means that's what they're calling the undisclosed illness.
Got it.
List.
You can put them, and then if you're undetermined what the illness is, and then you test negative, they can bring you back.
He had
if
a
you feel
48-hour
okay.
flu and he
Yeah.
feels better and you test positive or negative.
But
and all
obviously,
that.
they want you to stay away from the team, so they need to keep you out of the clubhouse, and then you can replace him on the roster temporarily.
We will see, I do believe, friend of the program, Joey Votto, in the lineup for the Cincinnati Reds. One of my favorite players. I hope he doesn't go off this week against the Padres. Don't want to get him right. Tough matchup for him tonight against Blake Snell. But yeah, they're a team with some good young players. There's not a team you should lose a lot of games.
Maybe he's got some more apocryphal Brandon Drury stories that he made up that aren't true.
Well, we're going to go down today and talk to some players and stuff before the game. So I'd love to run into Joey Votto and meet him, and then tell him, you lied to us about Brandon Drury because we got in trouble from Brandon Drury. It was very, very interesting story that one Joey Votto told. But one of our better gets on the show for sure.
Maybe
Great
we'll bring
talking.
that back later.
Yeah, we should
Just
bring
that
that back.
clip.
Just that clip. It's amazing.
By the way, Brandon Drury already with he got 5 homers for the Angels. You see who has 9 home runs for the Oakland Athletics?
Brent Rooker.
Brent Rooker,
AKA Manny Ramirez,
has twice as many home runs as anyone on the Padres right now.
Who knew? Really,
Now,
honestly.
for a terrible team, he wouldn't obviously even be playing for the San Diego Padres, but that is just one of those weird
one of those.
baseball stats that are hard to believe.
Got a tweet in from Tier 1 Bernadette. She says, Maggie said, no, they are not traveling to San Diego, so they will not be in the house. No Will Myers. So I don't know what our bet will be this week for the series, our $10 bet.
We'll figure it out. We got 2 more hours of the program to do so.
Very true.
And we've got some guests coming up in the second half of Ben and Woods, including Jordan Schusterman from Cespedes Family Barbecue. Our Monday regular will be with us at 8:35, and then in season Sammy get Sam Levitt's perspective on what went down over the weekend in Mexico City. He will join us at 9:35 this morning. Got a Ryla report still coming up. Want to talk more about the NBA playoffs for Fantastic over the weekend with the Lakers winning, and then yesterday you had the Golden State Warriors getting 50 from Steph Curry in a win over the Sacramento Kings in Game 7. Lots of good stuff still ahead with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
May 1st. Finally, it is May. We are here, and the calendar turns, and your San Diego Padres home tonight to take on the Reds. The return of Fernando Tatis Jr. is going to be insane for a Monday night. I'll be in the house. Benny, you be there?
I will be there.
And Paulie will be there as well. And this is huge. It's just going to be a huge, huge fun night. Hopefully the squad comes away with the win. Did want to shout out, though, this week is Teacher Appreciation Week. And as someone who just tortured teachers for years and years and years, and professors, shout out to you guys for putting up with little a-holes like me for your entire careers and making, way less than you deserve. I mean, it is staggering. We are so appreciative of the teachers at my kids' preschool. They're just, the patience they have it's unending. It's truly incredible because you see them, they're at home for 20 minutes. You're like, oh my God, how do you do this? How do you do this with 10, 12, 13 of these kids every day?
My boy Cameron, he's probably listening right now. He's a tier 1. He's a administrator for high school. He's a VP. The stories that man has.
Yeah.
I'm like, how much you get paid? That's a fraction of what you deserve. Holy crap.
It truly is. Our buddy tier 1B George, he's a teacher, and just this unending supply of patience. It's hard. Little kids are really, really challenging.
You're going to be shocked by this. I was a teacher's pet.
Oh yeah,
when I was
teacher's
in school.
dream.
Yeah.
So wait,
other kids would call me a brown noser, but I really wasn't trying to ingratiate myself to the teachers. I just liked them as people and related to them better than I did my fellow children. I was not on the same level as the children. I had better conversations and relationships with the adults in the room.
I was going to ask because I know you were. I picture you at least as a quiet in-class person. So if I'm the history teacher and Ben Higgins is in my class and Ben and Paul are in my class, Paul would probably be cutting up a little bit more, being chummy with his friends. I picture you locked in on me. I don't necessarily picture you, bringing me an apple and kissing my ass.
No, not like that. It was more
front and center.
Yeah, I'd sit where I'd sit. I'd participate in the discussions because, I generally like the topic.
You were
and
the
was willing
kid
to answer questions.
You were the kid that if you had a homework assignment that was due, the teacher maybe forgot to collect it, and
you would
there's
remind
2 minutes
her.
left.
No, I really wasn't that bad.
Excuse me.
I wasn't as bad as what really ended up happening is, and this is going to sound equally obnoxious in a different way. I tended to finish like tests really fast. I was a good test taker. People, you had an hour to take this test and I'd be done in 15 minutes. And so, hey, is there anything I can do to help out? So I'd end up organizing things on the side of the classroom.
No.
Didn't have phones or anything back then. There wasn't
what would you do? Like clean the chalkboard?
I don't know, whatever needed to be done, feed the Scantron machine or
he's like,
that.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm done. So if you need help, you got me.
Yeah.
So you were a brown
Just
nose.
fill the time.
You could have just sat there.
I didn't. It's not like I needed extra credit or anything, though. I wasn't going. I wasn't trying to get anything out of it. It just
politician
filling the time.
You're a
little bit
born politician. Wow. Never got in trouble. Never got a detention.
No.
Never.
No.
Well, for every one of you, there's 40 of me in classes. You're right.
That's true.
That's the thing. Is
I'm trying to shout out teachers, and Ben's like, I was perfect. I don't
yeah.
think their job was that hard.
So literally,
what job was that?
I think they make plenty of money. I mean, it's fine. A bunch of kids like me, it's like stealing
They
money.
should be paying to be there to teach kids like Ben.
I honestly
for the
don't.
Privilege.
I honestly don't know how they do it. I really to try to be. It's hard to come in and be entertaining and captivating for 4 hours every day, and we sometimes take a lot of grief for it. But to do that with teenagers and stuff is just. What would be the hardest grade for you guys to teach?
Ooh,
middle school.
I think the younger would be the hardest for me. The youngest would be the hardest.
It's so hard.
I think
Preschool,
kindergarten, yeah.
I think that's
First grade.
You could always just revert back to just having fun.
Yeah,
I don't.
I think
fun. I'm not a
5th
fun
grade
person.
through 8th grade would be miserable.
Smart asses,
body changes,
the voice changing, the hormones.
They don't know what deodorant is. They all stink.
Stinky. My kids
Couldn't
are
do
going
that.
to smell. I know they're going to smell. It's something that you worry about as a parent, but Yeah, I think I kind of lean. I don't know that I could do kindergarten either. They're really cute and sweet, but then there are those that you see and you're like, oh yeah,
Yeah, but they're all being pains in the asses. It's nap time.
Yeah, you
Hey,
think
we're
they,
gonna.
you
It's
think
arts
they
and
can call
crafts time.
Go come to my house and tell my kids it's nap time. See, that's just my house. See how it goes. Try doing it with 14 of them. All right, guys, never mind. It's nap time. They're like double birding you, literally in my house, literally a double bird when it's time to take a nap. So I don't know. I just appreciate you guys now. It took me having kids to realize how wonderful and special of a breed you guys are. So thank you. Teacher Appreciation Week here on Ben.
This is all. I just got this email. This is also the week to mark World Naked Gardening.
This is
Oh,
You got an email for
yeah.
that?
I got an email.
Somebody wanted to do an interview.
Subscribed?
No, this is a PR email. If we want to schedule an interview,
Maybe.
they said, hey, if you need help trimming your lawn, the one in your yard, please hire a lawn starter local pro before or after World Naked Gardening Day. And while you're at it, make sure to check your local indecent exposure laws beforehand and the weather. And they have the rankings of where San Diego fits in the best and worst cities for naked gardening.
What the hell?
We tend to do fairly well in California with decent weather. It's good to go outside.
Since when do we have decent weather?
Fairly low. They said we're 53rd on sex offenders per 100,000 residents, which is, I
Okay.
guess, good for naked gardening. I
That's
don't know.
good. I don't want to see anybody.
The wind speed will be fairly low, so you don't get, wind singed while you're naked gardening.
I don't. That's not something I want to see or think about,
Hmm.
really. I mean,
Well, there's something for everybody. I mean, you want to focus on the teachers, but there's naked gardeners out there as well that need their day.
my wife is very sexy. But even then, I don't know that I want to see her pulling weeds nude. It's not, that's not hot to me at all. Or
I
anybody.
don't know that it's supposed to be hot.
Well, why would you garden nude?
I would assume it makes
Freeing
you
or
feel
something?
very at one with nature, like you're en natural and you're out in nature gardening.
All right, try that in my neighborhood. See what happens.
I feel like there'd be thorns that could be an issue, like
Dirt.
stickers and splinters and
Yeah,
other things.
I'm gonna pass on that interview if
Okay.
they want to.
I just wanted to give you the option.
Yeah,
Just
that's-
got that email at 8 a.m. in my inbox. Sorry, PR lady. We are not
Yeah,
going
we're
to
gonna-
pursue that avenue at this time.
We're gonna pass.
All
Our
right.
show would be very interesting if we if we took every
Oh, it
pitch
would
that we
be-
get.
Problem is, I feel bad because I don't want to make fun of them, but I would have to, in cases like that. But yeah, we get a lot of those weird PR emails, and hey, everyone's got a gig, everyone's trying to make it happen for their clients, but some of them just aren't really a fit.
So here we are through the first month of the baseball season, plus a couple of
Are
days.
you
But
sure it's only been a month?
it's been
Oh my
1
God.
month plus a couple of days in March. Padres actually went 15-12 technically in the month of April, but usually baseball combines them together. So their March-April record was 15-14. They currently sit one game behind both the Arizona Diamondbacks and LA Dodgers in the NL West. Both teams are 16-13. The Diamondbacks lost to the Rockies yesterday, while the Dodgers completed a sweep of the St. Louis Cardinals. However, if you look at the FanGraphs odds to make the playoffs, Padres still tops in the division at 77% to make the playoffs, followed by the Dodgers at 74%. Giants are actually third at 32%. And even with their good start, the Diamondbacks are fourth in the division at 24% to make the playoffs. So FanGraphs tends to think of the Arizona start as not something that is sustainable for the rest of the season. And the Padres obviously have a good record against their division. They're now, 6-2 against the NL West, 4-2 against the Diamondbacks, 2-0 against the Giants. And we'll get the first look at the Dodgers this weekend at Petco Park with 3 games on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, and are they playing well, or are the Cardinals just in a free fall?
Cardinals seem to be struggling. They hit them at a good time, that's for sure. The Cardinals have been scuffling of late. So, read into it what it is. The Dodgers before that had been playing kind of like the Padres.
Yeah.
Just,
Win
kind
one,
of
lose
hit and
one.
miss,
Yep.
a mediocre start to the season.
Pirates got them last week. I mean, it's
Pirates are getting everybody.
Pirates are getting
Until
everybody.
yesterday, they had been dominating their opposition.
No one told them they were supposed to be a bad baseball team. Nobody told them. And, what Derek Shelton has his team doing right now is really fun. And I watched, Bo walked in the other day, he goes, "What are you watching?" I go, Pirates Nationals is in the morning. And he's like, why? I'm like, well, why not? This Pirates team is really, really fun. They got Connor Joe, San Diego kid, who's just on fire. Watched him hit a bomb. And again, it's the Nationals, but Pirates out there beating up on teams. It's pretty fun to see.
The biggest anomaly in the standings in the National League right now, though, belongs to the team that has the second worst run differential. They've been outscored by 35 runs. They've scored 99. They've given up 134. That projects to a record that should have them well into last place in their division. However, this team has a better record than the Padres. They're 16-13 with that run differential, and they've won 4 in a row. They just completed a sweep of the Cubs in which all of the runs, all of the wins were one-run victories.
Yep.
And now the Miami Marlins are 10-0 in one-run games.
Crazy.
I will say that most of the time I would tell you that a manager's impact day to day is fairly minimal in Major League Baseball. They're an important figure, obviously, in the clubhouse, setting the tone, culture, and they make some strategic decisions over the course of a game and
managing
a
a pen.
But they're not going to, if you lose 6-1, there's nothing the manager can do in that game. You win, 10-5. Manager really has very little impact. It's on the players and the pitchers for the most part. There is a school of thought that a manager does have the most impact, as you'd imagine, in one-run games. So if you want to see how a manager is doing, look at his team's record in one-run games. Under Skip Schumacher, the Miami Marlins are 10-0 in one-run games.
Pretty awesome,
season.
man.
That won't remain all year long. But what a great start here for Skip in his managerial career with the Marlins.
No question about it. And he's had a couple of turd performances from one of the best pitchers on the planet in Sandy Alcantara. And they do have Jesus Luzardo, who's really, really good. And I'm so happy for him, man, to his spirit, his energy in there with those young players. And Luis Arraez he's the next great hitter. He's the next one, Ben. And, you don't want to put him in the category of a Tony Gwynn or anything right now, but he has that bat to ball thing that Tony had. He has that thing where, he's hitting I think he's hitting like 438 or something right now. What a pickup for them from the Twins. Twins, of course, got Pablo Lopez. They were really pleased about him. Just signed him to a long-term deal. But holy cow, man, if Miami sticks around in it and hangs around, who knows?
That run differential tells me they probably won't.
Correct.
But hey, great start. They're only 3 games out from the Braves, tied with the Mets for second place in the National East right now, and we're going to see the Marlins here coming up later this month. Correct?
We are in late May, I do believe. Our run differential's negative 13
not
runs.
Great,
it's not great at all. But I still feel the Padres are going to be a playoff team. So I'm just so happy that career in Miami could have gotten off to a way worse start than it has. But yeah, man, you're talking the teams at the bottom right now in baseball. It's tough. The Oakland A's, they're as bad as it gets. Their run differential, by the way, is minus 117. Minus 117.
They're on pace to give up over 1,300 runs, which would be historically bad.
Yeah.
If they do that.
6-23 right now. Just insane. But yeah, Pittsburgh has 20
Royals
wins.
Have been terrible. The White Sox have been terrible. The Rockies have been pretty terrible. Nationals haven't been good. And the Cardinals are right there. That's the surprise, because we talked at the beginning of the year. Who's going to knock one of those six playoff teams out from last year in the National League?
The Big Six.
The one that we thought maybe was the Cardinals, but I certainly didn't see them 10 games out in last place behind the Pittsburgh Pirates.
I think I said that it would be the Phillies. I thought the Phillies would have a World Series hangover. I thought Bryce Harper's going to be out. By the way, Bryce Harper could be back in the lineup tomorrow after having Tommy John surgery in November.
160 days ago. If he gets cleared by doctors today,
he could play tomorrow.
Now he'd be playing DH and some first base, where you don't have to make strong throws. But yeah, he can be back. And the Phillies have already recovered, by the way. They're back above 500 at 15-14 after a slow start. The Braves are there. The Mets are, tied for second. The Dodgers and Padres are, other than, the Diamondbacks, a little surprised. I don't know if they're going to stick around, but the 5, at least, of the 6 that we expected to be there, pretty much, where they should be at this point. Not dominating necessarily, but doing just fine.
When's the last time you can remember a Cardinals team going 2-8 in 10 games? I just can't. So I wonder, and we'll ask Jordan Schusterman from Cespedes Family Barbecue. He's going to join us in about 20 minutes. Are there going to be some shakeups this early? You know, Pedro Grifol, I thought was going to be out the door in Chicago. I don't know. I don't know that one win saves your rear end like it did yesterday. But man, there's already a couple of guys I'm looking at going. Their teams are not only losing, they're playing poorly. They're not hustling, things like that, getting called out in the media. You know, what's going to happen this year? And are guys going to be shown the door? I think the Phillies are a good example. They showed Girardi the door last year, and Rob Thompson took him to the NLCS. Baseball's like that. So we'll see what happens. But it's been a weird first month in Major League Baseball, no question.
All right, before Jordan Schusterman joins us at the bottom of the hour, we'd love to hear from some more Padres fans, especially ones making their way back or back from Mexico City. 833-288-0973. You get to more of that coming up next after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. I'm going to go back out to the phone lines, 833-288-0973, looking for Padres fans. Made the trip down to Mexico City, and Paul says we've got Susie and Jim who are still down there in Mexico City on the line right now. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. How's it going?
Good. Hi,
Good.
both of you.
Now,
You still down there?
Are you stuck there, or was this a planned extra day?
We were planning for an extra day. We're coming home tomorrow.
Very smart. I love the extra day to recover. I love it. And now you get on a plane tomorrow.
I saw some of the media members like Dennis Lynn, their flight got delayed hours and hours and
did it
hours
really?
on the way out. So, yeah, smart move, people. Smart move.
We came in early, too, to avoid
Oh,
that.
genius. You guys are the best travelers ever. So how was your experience down there?
I am telling you, this was so much fun. The energy in that stadium was off the charts. And, most of those, there's tons of Padre fans. We outnumbered the Giants fans for sure. But a lot of those Padre fans are from Mexico. They live here. That's, we traveled in, a lot of traveled in, but the people from Mexico are Padre fans.
I loved it. I love seeing it. I'm so jealous. What's the best thing you ate down there? Because the food pictures I saw were ungodly.
We're actually eating room service right now.
I love room service.
All the food is good. The people are very, very nice here. They welcomed us with open arms. There was no issues or problems like everybody wants to tell you it's dangerous. No, I never felt worried once.
That's amazing.
Awesome, guys.
We're just rubbing it in.
Safe
more.
travels. Thank you for the call. Appreciate it. Enjoy the room service. And hopefully see you back in San Diego, Susie and Jim, making the trip down to Mexico City. She mentioned the fact that many of those Padres fans that we saw are natives. They actually live down there. And I remember, it's probably for the last 15, 20 years that the Padres started making a concerted effort. They wanted to be the team of Mexico. And I think there was for a lot of around baseball, the bit of a reaction was, yeah, good luck with that.
Right.
In Mexico, they cheer for winning teams like the Yankees and the Red Sox.
Dodgers.
They don't care that your ballpark is, 15, 20 minutes from the border. They want to cheer for a winning team. Yeah. They're not going to cheer for the San Diego Padres. All of a sudden, though, in these last few years, you throw some City Connects out there, you put star players on the field, and then you combine that with, San Diego's obvious appeal as a city and close to the border. And now it does feel like San Diego at least is in the conversation for baseball team of Mexico.
Yeah, the sheer number of Padre fans and everyone that was there was tweeting about it, just how many Padre fans were there to outnumber the Giant fans. It was awesome. Now, let's keep that same energy on Friday night here at our home ballpark when the Los Angeles Dodgers are in town. Let's fill that thing with Padre fans as well.
833-288-0973. Grades are in from ESPN for the first month of the baseball season. Your San Diego Padres received
C+.
C-.
C-
from
wow.
David Schoenfield.
Harsh.
Same as the Dodgers, got a C- as well. Here was the write-up. Padres are just now at full strength with Fernando Tatis Jr. back from his suspension and Joe Musgrove with a couple of starts, but this first month exposed their lack of depth. They had to play the likes of Rougned Odor and Jose Azocar in right field, and how the bullpen without Robert Suarez is a little shaky behind closer Josh Hader. Hasn't helped, of course, that Juan Soto is off to a frustrating start with a sub-200 batting average, and for him, sky-high strikeout rate. Manny Machado hit .214 with one home run in his first 26 games before finally breaking out with 2 home runs on Saturday in Mexico City. Thank you, Altitude. Padres were the number 2 team in our preseason power rankings, although I picked the Dodgers to win the division. Padres haven't shown me enough to suggest they will be the best team in the division. That's for sure. David Schoenfield.
Okay. I love David. David's a frequent guest on this program. I'm going to disagree. There's been a couple of freaky things that have happened. But no, look,
I don't necessarily disagree with the grade.
I don't disagree with the grade. But as far as exposing depth and things like that, look, David Dahl got hurt. Joe Musgrove dropped a weight on his foot. These are weird things that have happened. Tonight would be a really good night for Blake Snell to get his first win. Actually, you don't even have to get the dub, but the team win when you're on the mound. 0-4 this season. 0-5 this season.
He's 0-4.
He's 0-4.
The
The Padres are
0-5 when he starts.
Yeah. And listen, He's pitched a little bit better as of late. The walks are still killing him. But that said, he's throwing the ball well. He's throwing the ball well enough to win at least a couple of those. But it's the offense, the runners in scoring position, the Juan Soto struggles, the Manny Machado struggles. That's what's murdered this team early. So if those guys get it figured out, watch out.
I guess my only question here with David and his grades, he has the Dodgers right next to the Padres at C- as well.
Yeah.
Just feels like it's a bit more positive, talking about the offense has been above average with Max Muncy and James Outman. Clayton Kershaw has been exquisite. He does point out some deficiencies in their bullpen that they haven't performed as well.
Well, they got the same grade
in previous years, but they got the exact same grade, and they have the 1 game different record over the first 29 games of the season, 16-13 versus 15-14. So
I haven't watched much Dodgers baseball this year. I've caught them when they were on. I know that Julio Urias has put together 2 really crappy starts back to back. I mean, they've got depth issues as well. But again, he's not factoring in just how good the teams have been that the Padres have played early in the season. And we always seem to catch these teams at the wrong time for us, but the right time for them. Hey, listen, no excuses. The Padres should be better than their record shows right now. There's no question. They should be better than a 15-14 record, but there's still so much baseball left to play. And guys haven't gotten locked in at all, including 2 of your biggest hitters. So yeah, I'm not sweating it too much.
I mean, Dodgers have played a similar schedule. They've played 8 against the Diamondbacks, 7 against the Cubs. They just finished 6 against the Cardinals and Pirates. Now, the Pirates surprisingly good.
Yeah.
Cardinals surprisingly bad. They had the Mets for 3. They played the Giants for 3 and the Rockies for 2. So, a fairly similar opening slate to the Padres, actually, to begin the season.
Yep. I mean, our strength of schedule last week was second in baseball. I don't know who was first, but listen, this should be the start of the softer part a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's baseball.
All right, we'll come back. It is Monday. It means it's a grand old barbecue Monday with Cespedes Family Barbecue. We got Jordan Schusterman going to join us to talk about baseball around the league on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Sour 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Old Town San Diego. Viva la fiesta. Cinco de Mayo in Old Town San Diego. Let's fiesta this Cinco de Mayo in Old Town. Enjoy delicious cuisine, live entertainment, and unique artisanal finds in Old Town on May 6th, 5th, and 7th. I think I reversed 2 of those. For spectacular memories, Cinco de Mayo OldTown.com has the details. Viva la fiesta. Cinco de Mayo in Old Town San Diego. Is this one of those fake ones?
No,
that you have
that's,
just dropped
that's,
in?
a real one. That's a real one.
You're laughing so much.
I like hearing you say Viva la Fiesta very much.
Oh, we're going to Viva la Fiesta with Jordan Schusterman from Cespedes Family Barbecue on a grand old Monday, right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Bazaar del Mundo Cinco de Mayo celebration. We've got some slick roadways around various parts of the county thanks to some light rain and drizzle. So you definitely want to take that into consideration. Please have your headlights on so other drivers can see you. It's pretty gray out there. No incidents or accidents to report at this time, though. Everything's moving along pretty nicely all around. Cinco de Mayo's this Friday, and it's a weekend party at Diane Powers Casa Guadalajara Mexican Restaurant in Old Town. Join the fun. Free parking across the street at the Caltrans lots starting at 5 on Friday. Drink responsibly. I'm Kelly Danick at Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Well, it's still Uno de Mayo, or Primero de Mayo.
Primero, yes.
The first day of May. And joining us to start a new week, our friend from Cespedes Family Barbecue on a grand old barbecue Monday. It's Jordan Schusterman. I see him right there on our YouTube stream. Good morning, Jordan.
Buddy.
Good morning, friends. It is great to be back with you. Happy Tatis Jr. plays in Petco Park Day. I'm feeling great. It's good to see you guys.
Thank you. We do celebrate.
We do celebrate. We will be there. We will be celebrating. It does feel like this is our 3rd opening day in a month. We had the regular opening day, which was a bit of a disappointment, I'll be honest. Then you had Tatis coming back to Arizona. A lot of Padre fans made the trip for that. I fully expect tonight to be a little bit of a madhouse. I really do. For a Monday night in San Diego, to see him back, Jordan, is going to be awesome. And you know, he's playing well. I think most importantly, he's playing well in right field and you know, kind of learning a new position. He's been impressive.
Yeah, I'm not super shocked by that. Like, he is the kind of athletic freak that is going to figure things like that out pretty quickly. He's also going to make, and we've seen some of them early on, make some pretty stupid mistakes, but that's all part of the fun, right? Part of what makes this guy so entertaining. It was true at shortstop too, right?
Absolutely.
He could make the most incredible play you've ever seen and the dumbest play you've ever seen. And that's, again, for me, I'm not a Padres fan. I'm just trying to be entertained. And he's certainly entertaining. But like you said, he is playing well out there. He's starting to heat up at the plate. And yeah, this is great for, you know, I'm sure I'm not a Padres fan, but as a neutral observer, there's very few players I'm more excited to watch on a daily basis than him. And to watch him at home is going to be a spectacle, I'm sure.
Well, speaking of entertainment value, I'm not sure that the coaches and pitching staff certainly would never want to go back, but 2 games in Mexico City, which would otherwise just be a couple of Padres Giants games in a long season, certainly took on an added dimension over the weekend. What was your impression from a more neutral standpoint of the Mexico City series, Jordan?
Oh, nothing neutral about it. I've never seen a more ridiculous. Sunday's game was fairly normal. We did have a couple batted balls that were questionable at best. I loved it. Now, as you remember, when we talked, you know, I was on here earlier this season talking about the WBC, like, growing the game is so important, and having these games is so important. It far outweighs, like, sorry about your ERA, Joe Musgrove, I don't care.
Yep.
Having these games in these places. Remember, we had the same situation when they play in London with, like, you know, it's like 360 to center field or whatever. Those games were nuts. We saw the games, you know, the Field of Dreams game had some crazy offense. Like, it's fine. If it's once or twice a year, this is perfect. I love that we get to see baseball in different settings, not just, you know, geographically, but in a ridiculous run environment. Of course, I wouldn't want every game to be like this, but I thought it was fantastic. And as much as, and, you know, for the Padres, you know, they came out on top. So the vibes are good going back home. So yeah, it was a little goofy. There were some fly balls where I was like, this is stupid. But also I was like, you know what? It's funny. It's 1 of 162. I love it.
Talking to our pal Jordan Schusterman from Cespedes Family Barbecue on a grand old Monday here on Ben & Woods. No one told, and who your squad, your main squad, are you Orioles guy first and foremost?
Mariners
guy
Orioles,
first and foremost.
That's
right.
Jake's having a lot more fun to start this year than I am.
He's an Orioles guy. Yeah, I mean, they look great. Nobody told some of these teams, Jordan, that they weren't supposed to be good. And we knew, we saw the Orioles last year. They battled really, really hard at the end. And but like with the Pirates, I found myself on a Saturday morning camped in front of the TV watching the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Washington Nationals play, which is, it's not something I would normally put on the calendar. Even my 5-year-old questioned me why I was watching. And I said, well, because the Pirates are really, really fun to watch, man. No one told them they were supposed to be bad.
Hey, now this is why we're friends, right? You're actively tuning into the Pirates and Nationals. Yeah. This is why we get along, right? I mean, this is great to hear. I'm so happy to hear that you're, expanding your horizons and locking into the Buccos. I mean, you mentioned the Orioles. I think there's an obvious parallel to make there. A team last year that you saw a strong farm system, you saw organizationally heading in the right direction, but you still thought they'd be pretty bad. And I think that's absolutely what you see with the Pirates. Now, the Pirates have even less. They do not. Now, Ben Cherington does have a pretty strong track record over the course of his, GM career. Of course, what he did in Boston, what he did in Toronto as well. But I think what you're seeing now is we underestimated some of that next year. So much focus on O'Neal Cruz, and rightfully so. When he goes down, I remember thinking like, not only is this terrible because he could be their best player, but also why do I want to tune in? But what we've seen, some of these young guys, some of which come from the Padres.
Indeed.
Jack Sawinski has been marvelous, but even guys like Rodolfo Castro, not necessarily the top prospect, have played so well, combining with those veterans like Carlos Santana. Obviously, McCutchen has been amazing. Really fun group. I don't know how sustainable it is, but they're clearly not bad. You don't get to 20-9 by being a bad team. So are they going to win the division? I don't know. I also don't care right now because it's a hell of a start. And if you're for Pirates fans who've been in the darkness now for quite a while, you got to be happy for them too.
We laughed about it last week. We were on a commercial break and Ben said, what if the Pirates and Rays played in the World Series? I go, I can't wrap my head around it, but boy, you'd have 26 owners or so, twirling their mustaches going, this is the way. We told you guys being cheap pays off.
It's so funny. It's so funny you say that because you're so right in some sense to be like, see, look, we don't have to spend any money. You just have to be smart and do this. At the same time, who would also probably hate that? The commissioner.
Oh, yeah.
So,
the ratings would be
awful.
It goes both ways, right?
Yeah, for sure. Short term, yes. Long term, they go. Who needs to hand out these big contracts anymore?
Told you.
On the other end of the teams that are not doing well to start the season, and really almost no surprises. The A's are terrible. The Royals, of course. The Rockies, not good. The Nationals, not good. The White Sox, that's as bad as they are. That's been, I think, a bit of a surprise. And unfortunately, Jordan, your Mariners have really gotten off to a slow start, but I think they're salvageable at least. I mean, they got a positive run differential. That's probably more of a statistical anomaly, I'd say.
Yeah, I feel like the Mariners are in the bottom tier with the Padres from the standpoint of expectations and how good they've been relative. Padres over 500 now, but they're at kind of the top of that group of teams in the middle where it's like, we were really excited for the season and it's not quite going as well. I don't think the Mariners are a bad team, but they certainly are a flawed team. The White Sox are the one that certainly stand out because they maybe didn't have as high expectations, but I was not looking at this roster and thinking this team stinks.
Right.
I was not. And that is what you could say about those other teams you mentioned with Colorado, Oakland, Washington, Kansas City. Yeah, the White Sox, man, and thank goodness they got that win yesterday because it was already heading to a pretty dark place. But for them, we just recorded our podcast this morning. We were joking about how the beauty and also terror of baseball is that you got to just get up and play the next day.
Yeah,
and the White Sox feel like a team that need to just all go take a collective nap. And but they finally won a game, and so now hopefully they can. Listen, that they didn't look good in the game they won yesterday either, so I'm not exactly feeling any better. But that is a season that has just spiraled out of control, and then the Cardinals are the other team I think are definitely worth mentioning in the National League.
I was just going to bring them up.
Work to do.
Yeah, I was just going to bring them up, and it's so unlike a Cardinals team, and I the parallels between here and there. Nolan Arenado off to a tough start. Team's not playing well. Manny Machado off to a tough start. Team's not playing well. Those are two guys, same position, that have the ability to put a team on their back, and they just haven't done it yet. And I don't know what it is. If you watch every Padre game like I do, and I don't, it's hard coming from me because I am the biggest Manny Machado homer. You can't watch the game and tell me he's 100%. He winces after damn near every swing that he takes. And we watched it all weekend in Mexico, had a rough day yesterday, and he's not going to come out and say, I need a week off. He's just not who he is.
Yeah, and I know he was, rightfully lauded for that at times. He has, this has been one of the most underrated parts of Manny Machado the whole time is, since his early leg injuries, which were freak accidents, he's been about as durable as it gets in the entire league. But that also reminds you that guys are always playing through something. And at some point, you are hurting your team and yourself more by playing than not playing. I don't know what the issue is. I don't know what it would take to actually take Manny out of the lineup. And I don't know, obviously depth is not exactly a strong suit right now. So I'm not exactly sure what the backup plan would be there. So it seems like he's going to keep gritting it out, but I'm with you. That is a very strange situation. And sure, he hits the 2 homers on Saturday, but I think a couple of you guys could have probably homered too if given the opportunity on Saturday. So
felt pretty
yesterday, obviously he looked bad. So I don't know. I'm not really sure where we're headed towards with him, because of course you love to see him toughing it out, but you also want to see him get right, because he does not look right now. And maybe it does take a couple weeks off, and that's what
I've been trying to say in my very abrasive and snarky way that, man, it could always be worse. I mean, the St. Louis Cardinals, again, with their superstar third baseman also not performing at his near expected level, they're in the toilet right now, and the Padres are not.
Place.
Yeah, they're in last place. The Padres are not in last place. They're above 500. I know it's not what we expected, but man, they haven't fallen off the cliff yet. And I think there's something to be said in this weird ass 5 weeks of baseball that we've seen. There's something to be said for treading water right now. There's something to be said for that.
100%. I mean, you talk about, again, that group of teams that I referenced where it's like, okay, where's the upside? Where can we see this clearly improving? Right. The Padres are also pretty healthy. That's the thing that teams like the Yankees are really struggling. And that's why I'm skeptical that they're going to be able to really push for the division at all, just because the rest of that division is so good. Not that I'm saying they can't make the postseason. Seattle certainly has dealt with serious injuries, and they also have a lot of depth problems, but you could also see where some of that lineup could pick it up. Julio dealing with a little bit of an injury right now. He really hasn't been that much of a factor so far. And you could see him really getting hot. And that's why with the Padres, I mean, that's the easiest team in the world to be like, oh, well, all these guys are going to get better. But Machado, I'm not worried about Soto. I'm certainly not worried about Tatis. I think he's just going to be he's going to start heating up and be one of the best players in the league. We know how good Bogarts has been. I'm not worried about Soto, honestly, yet. That's a different conversation. Machado's the one because of how it looks. Soto, it's just an approach thing. He's just too I don't have to explain that to you guys. I'm not worried about Soto, and the floor is still so high with him because he's reaching base so much and still scoring runs. Even if we want to see more power production, Machado's the one we got to figure out for sure.
I had someone in my timeline going, you got to drop Soto down to 6th or 7th in the order and move Jake up. I go, but Soto has a way higher on base percentage than any of those guys.
He was on base 7 times this weekend.
He's fine. I mean, if anything, move him higher and higher in the order. At least he's getting on base for the other guys who are hitting if he's struggling. So I totally get that. You just brought up the injuries. Before we go, Bryce Harper coming back maybe tomorrow. That's a pretty crazy story. And then Jacob deGrom going on the injured list is probably the least crazy story in baseball at this point in the season.
Yeah, we just hit that on our pod we recorded this morning, because the Harper thing is both unbelievable and duh, he's a superhero. So are we, if you were going to bid on someone to come back from Tommy John as a position player faster than anybody you've ever seen, it would obviously be him. The DeGrom thing is just kind of depressing at this point. The weird thing with him is, and maybe a weird contrast to Machado, right? Because Machado, we are watching him play every game. You can't get him out of the lineup, but he is compromised, right? He is clearly compromised. And it's different with position players versus pitchers. But with DeGrom, he's never compromised. If you watched him against the Yankees, he looked like Jacob deGrom. He always looks like Jacob deGrom. There's no version. He clearly just has one gear, right? It's like, I am the best pitcher in the world, or I am not pitching.
Yeah.
So
no middle ground.
Yeah. And that's what you sign up for with the Rangers. And when they gave him all that money, people are like, oh my God, how could you do this? It's like, well, they know, they understand what they're signing up for. It's a calculated risk for the Rangers, which in some way has paid off, right? The innings that they've gotten have been good. Look at a guy like Nate Eovaldi who gives a shutout the next day. That guy's got a million arm problems, and he's been awesome sometimes when he's on the field, and when he is hurt, he's not as good, but there is a payoff there. So it's part of the risk. The Rangers team building is fascinating and almost reckless, but in a great way that I kind of respect. But it's worked out so far. It sucks. It's just a disappointing because we want to watch Jacob deGrom pitch. It's that simple. But you're certainly not surprised by it.
Yep.
Grand Ole Barbecue Monday with Jordan Schusterman. I can't wait. I went last week. The brisket is the best. It's certainly the best in California. It really stacks up with everything I've ever tried. Like right there, the Franklin's in Austin, I went. It was amazing, but I can't tell you that Grand Ole doesn't stack right up with it. So I can't wait until you come to town. We can go get some Grand Ole together, Jordan. That'll be fun.
Yeah, I gotta just plan a weekend to fly out to San Diego and just have some barbecue for 48 straight hours and watch Fernando Tatis Jr. play at Petco Park. It sounds like a good time. I should probably find a time to do that.
Yeah, not the worst idea you've had, my friend. We really appreciate you as always. Always a great segment with our pals from Cespedes Family Barbecue. Thank you, Jordan. We'll talk to Jake next week and you in 2 weeks.
Sounds good.
Thanks, buddy.
Jordan and all of our guests appearing on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. Yeah, I mean, injuries. It's funny you point out Jacob deGrom. You wonder if you can pitch that well. Can you pitch through a couple of injuries and be 80% of Jacob deGrom and still be very helpful to the Texas Rangers? Because the Rangers, Boch has got that team off to a really good start, but they're not going to be able to survive long stretches without deGrom.
No, and it's a 10, 15-day IL stint right now for him. But anytime that guy, flexes his fingers or it's, something in his forearm, it just, he like you said, he has one speed. And when he is on the field, he's the most dominant pitcher in baseball. And I think you see guys trying to battle through things at times, and it doesn't always work for them. He's one of those guys. If he takes the ball, you feel like you're going to get max effort, 100%, one of the best pitchers. If other than that, he just doesn't play.
Do you think, I know it's not him, you just said it, but do you think Manny would be better off when he needed to just go down for 2 weeks, get healthy, and then come back and be yourself, as opposed to fighting through it, struggling like he did last year after the ankle injury in the month of May or June, when he had, he didn't perform, but he felt it was critical for him to be on the field for his team. He may have been right. I don't know. Maybe this team doesn't need quite as much. They need a healthy Manny in 2 or 3 weeks rather than one that is really trying to press through for weeks and weeks for whatever is going on. Because I agree with you. I don't think he's close to 100%.
Just watch.
He'll never tell us what it is.
I'm going to ask him today.
And he's not going to tell you.
I'm going to ask him.
But is there a point where he should sit down?
Maybe.
I mean, he's not killing the team. He had 2 home runs on Saturday.
Yeah, the day before.
He'll produce still some, but will you ever fully unleash Manny? Are you extending the amount of time that it takes for him to get healthy if he's playing out there? Now, if he thinks, I'm playing, you know what? I'll be healthy in 2 or 3 weeks, regardless whether I sit down or play. But if you're extending that time, well, if I keep playing, maybe a month and a half before I'm fully healthy. But if I sat down, I might be ready to go 2 weeks.
But the thing is like, where he is right now, this very moment? He's on a table somewhere getting work done. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want that guy out of my lineup. I really don't. That's where he is. I could bet my house that he's getting treatment. What looks like a back
at his home in Coronado.
That's exactly right. Probably listening to Ben and Woods. Good morning, Manny.
Morning, Manny. And Yane.
Whole fan.
And the trainer who's there with you and everyone else. We'll come back with our Rindle report, talk a little hoops as well. Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed on 97.3 The Fan. While you're listening, you can see what you missed, then click to listen on demand. If you missed a guest feature or something crazy that happened from earlier, we've got you covered. Download the free Odyssey app, search 97.3 The Fan, tap earlier today to get started. Now, earlier today, we talked about your Seals going to the playoffs, fresh off an 11-8 win on Saturday night at Pechanga Arena. You called that one.
I did.
PA.
Very violent.
Legion have won 7 straight. They beat the Houston SaberCats yesterday at Snapdragon Stadium, 29-16 in Major League Rugby. But I don't know what happened to our soccer teams. They'd all been so hot. And then the Loyal lost on Saturday, 2-1 to El Paso. The Wave lost 3-1 on Saturday as well. So, the Sockers got eliminated. We had such good soccer momentum going, and then this was a tough week for our soccer teams.
I saw that the 15-year-old.
Yeah.
What is her name?
Melanie Barcenas.
Got into the game.
Yeah. 72nd minute. She made her Wave and NWSL debut, the youngest player in league history. She's from here. They signed her, and they played her. 15 years old.
Oh, don't tell me Ethan Salas can't get behind the dish tonight then. All right.
That's a good point.
16 years old.
It's the highest level.
She's
of
15.
Soccer.
The highest level she can go, right? That's incredible. People were tweeting, like, not only did she get in, she looked very much like she knew what she was doing and that she belonged. I don't know enough about soccer to comment on that, but I will say that is an extraordinary
what were you doing at
accomplishment.
15?
I think that was right around when the juvenile
Sophomore year of high
delinquency
school?
started. Yeah, I was bad. I was just,
It was freshman year for me.
yeah, I was a bad kid.
I wasn't good freshman
No,
year.
I wasn't good.
You weren't
I was
ready
righted
to
the
step
ship,
in
but-
as a professional athlete.
I
getting
can't
paid.
even wrap my head around it.
It is hard to.
I
fathom.
really can't.
I mean, there's some sport. I think maybe in like some of those individual sport, like gymnastics or
Yeah.
something where
Oh,
the team,
absolutely.
figure skating,
Sure.
individual. The team. They work hard. They do their routine. But being part of a professional sports team that
team.
features a player like Alex Morgan, you're
Right.
playing alongside a legendary player. It's very different than some of those individual sports like a golf or a figure
Yeah.
skating or a tennis. Even
It's a
You've
great
had
point.
some teen tennis stars
Yeah.
early, but not really in team sports.
It's
That's
amazing.
rare.
It's very, very, it's incredible. What an accomplishment. But man, I can't wrap my head around it. And, again, the reports on Salas from everybody we've talked to is he's wise beyond his years. He is advanced in everything he does. Now, I have no doubt if he came up to the big leagues, he would get embarrassed by the pitching so far. But, behind the dish, he looks as good as anybody I've seen. I mean, they show videos of him, and I'm like, good Lord, he's got a cannon for an arm. He blocks everything. He looks the part.
Now, Austin Nola hit a bomb of a home
He
run.
did.
2-run home run, one pitch after replacing his bat yesterday. He tapped it on the plate and he realized
It's broken.
his bat was broken and he didn't know it. Now, has it been broken all season long? And then
Don't know.
now he just realized it. And as soon as he did, he's going to become one of the better hitters in the game. And he's just been working with a broken bat this entire time.
Can you imagine? Just a tired ass cracked bat, and you don't realize it. You're like, man, I just cannot get. I feel like I hit the barrel there.
Can't
It
get
didn't
good
go
wood on
anywhere.
this.
Yeah, just wild.
It's not so cracked that it'll actually break.
Right.
It's just
Just
not
enough.
a good bat. I wonder how long he was using that
Who
before
knows?
he replaced it. Because literally the first pitch with the new bat over the center field wall. What was that? 430 some odd feet,
That thing was a missile.
104 miles an hour
Yeah.
or something like that.
Good for him.
It's
Good
just
for him. We needed it.
a
God, it was
magic
such a-
bat.
Such a clutch home run in that situation too. We absolutely needed that to get the offense jump started, come back and win that ball game. Man, it was great. Shout out to my Lord, Josh Hader has been a revelation, not a revolution since he's been here.
I'd say he's been exactly what I expected and hoped he would be.
10 for 10 with a .69
Yeah.
ERA.
I mean, my expectations were rather high for
Yeah.
Hader going into this
They
season. I
were.
mean, it's a free agent drive season for Josh Hader.
How's that worked for Blake Snell
Not as
and
well.
Juan Soto, who's got a year left on his deal? That's not the end all be all for players, or we'd be having a lot better performance than we're seeing.
Did you see that story about Josh Hader. So they all use the PitchCom, and
he
it's
uses
actually,
his own.
Yeah, it was
Nola's voice.
Yeah, Austin Nola had programmed the voice that you hear, like fastball, low outside. But Josh Hader wanted to hear his own voice, like in his head. So when he hits the PitchCom button, he hears, fastball, low. It's like, that's my own voice in my head. That would kind of weird me out, but he likes it. It's like reinforces his thinking.
I like it a lot.
When he's out on the mound.
I think that is
a lot of the guys didn't even realize it was Nola. Apparently, they thought, "Oh, it's just like the Siri, like
it's like
the
a
PitchCom,
stock voice,
mechanical voice." And it's like, no, Austin's like, no, that's been me. That's my voice that's been calling the pitches for you this whole time.
I love whatever he's doing. Continue to do because he's been remarkable.
All right, let's get some other headlines. It is time for our 9:05 a.m. Rindle Report.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Rindle Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Rindle Report with Paul Rindle.
Hi, Paul.
All right. 2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Rindle Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a oh yeah?
All right.
All right. Had a little prime rib on Friday. Sent you guys a picture, the prime rib, and I just started laughing.
Hi, how are you?
Immediately when it was sat down at the table, I just started
Whoever
laughing.
carved that didn't chintz on the cut.
They did not.
It
See how
wasn't-
thick it was?
They didn't try to talk you into a more tender, thin slice.
But see here where I went, you also couldn't go back for more.
Ah.
So they're not gonna. If they had cut it thin, I would have been pissed because I paid a good amount.
So they didn't
for
try
it.
to steer you to the lasagna as well.
They did not. But
A
as
nice
soon-
cost-efficient
You like hot
lasagna.
fudge sundaes?
As soon as he put it down in front of me, I just started snickling and so he had to send these guys a picture. Prime rib, it was delicious.
Well, prime rib on Friday was good news, but Padres fans got bad news, I guess, if you were expecting anything good.
How would you
for
expect?
Drew Pomeranz?
Come on.
Haven't gotten to this story yet, but Kevin Acee tweeted on Friday at 12:24 p.m. reliever Drew Pomeranz has been shut down after experiencing discomfort in his throwing arm during latest rehab appearance.
I can't believe it, man. I can.
You can, but you can't, but you can.
He
Does he ever pitch again for the Padres in Padres uniform?
do you just cut your losses with Drew?
Well,
And-
what, you're not. He's not taking up any.
a 40 man.
Yeah, you can put. Is he not on the 60 man?
No, you put him on the 40 man. He's taking up a 40 man roster.
Not if he's on the 60-day injured.
I don't know
list,
if they put him on the 60 yet.
If they can, then he's really. I mean, you're paying his salary. You don't
Sunk cost.
Exactly. Glad you've been listening to my
Of course I listen.
economics TED Talks over here. Yeah, I don't know.
So if you
I mean,
go on the 60-day IL, you're not
don't
taking
count
up
the
He
guy
the
for
is
40 man.
on the 40 man right now.
So he is only
on
on
the
the 15-day
15-day
IL because they were excited about bringing him back sometime in May.
Well, here's the
Which now
thing.
looks like it won't happen. So
Based on the tweets I saw from our beloved Mad Friars, I think in his last outing, I mean, he got a couple of outs. And the thing with Drew is like, okay, just get through the outing and don't worry. But his velo was like 91, 92. Maybe he's like Ryan Weathers, Ben. He needs to go 7 to get that velo popping. No, I just, it's one of those that will stick out for a while and go, man, that was a bit of an albatross. I'm bummed for the guy because, that article came out at the beginning of the year and he's like, no, I think people have the wrong perception of me. I really do want to pitch, but it's the night before his first go, he had a stiff neck. It's just are you just snake bit? Is this not the career for you? He would be a valuable piece if he was anything like what he was before. So I'm bummed for the guy, but I'm also bummed for the Padres and Padres fans because, this has been going on a while.
4 years, $34 million is what they signed him
Good
to.
ass work if you can get it.
Haven't seen him in 2 years, and that was even at a minimum.
It's hard to fathom.
Actually, I'm going to turn my attention now to the other guy. 5 years, $46 million for Robert Suarez in the offseason. And I haven't seen a day of Robert Suarez yet. And don't know how close he is to returning. He is on the 60-day injured list right now.
That would hurt. That would hurt.
Yeah, that doesn't help. That's for sure. And the Padres still have managed to, I think, look fairly decent in the bullpen.
Like we said, cobble
without him.
it together, tread water. That's kind of what this team has done. They again, I do think
Guys
it's
have
important.
stepped up.
I do think it's important. They have not fallen off the White Sox Cardinals cliff yet. They haven't. Now they haven't been the Tampa Bay Rays either, who just blew a 7-run lead in the ninth inning.
To their expectations, our expectations,
Correct.
Anybody else's
but they have
expectations.
not gone over the cliff yet. They just haven't. So
it's important perspective.
It is. It is important. They're hanging around. They're hanging around.
They're
That's
battling.
they're battling, scooping and battling. They are hanging around, and that's important, man.
All right, we will go to the NBA. I know we talked a little bit about it in our 6 o'clock hour. Yesterday, I had 2 games in the Eastern side of things. Game 1 between the Heat and the Knicks. Miami beat New York 108-101. They took a 1-0 series lead there.
Did you see what happened in that game? That was interesting.
No.
So Jimmy Butler got hurt in the second half.
Yes, I did see this.
But he stayed out there almost entirely as a decoy. They just felt like Jimmy Butler being on the floor and drawing 1 or 2 defenders, even though he really couldn't do anything, was more valuable than bringing in an actual healthy player off the bench.
Brings up that question you just asked about Manny. You know what I mean? Like,
It's harder to be a decoy in baseball.
It's but the threat of Manny Machado in the lineup. You know what I'm saying? A hurt Manny, is he better than Ha-Sung Kim in the
Manny at
lineup?
60% or
Ha-Sung Kim,
Odor at
right? Yeah,
100%.
Odor at 100.
But yeah, Kyle Lowry came off the bench, stepped up in the fourth quarter, and the Heat pulled off a road victory in Game 1 at Madison Square Garden.
And last night on the Western Conference side of things, in the first round, we had Game 7 between Golden State and Sacramento. This series went back to Sacramento for Game 7, and well, Steph Curry did what Steph Curry does: a historic 50 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists.
Nice
That's
night.
the first 50-point performance in a Game 7
Ever.
in NBA
Michael
playoff
Jordan
history.
never did it.
LeBron, Jordan, nobody.
Nobody, Shaq, no one's ever done 50 in a Game 7
And
until
that sets up a date between the Warriors and the Lakers, which I believe tips off tomorrow night.
correct.
Tonight, we have Game 2 between the Nuggets and the Suns. Denver took Game 1 in that series. And then the Celtics and the 76ers. That's probably the premier matchup right now. Those two
I mean,
teams.
I like
Either one could definitely go to the
honestly,
finals.
all 4 remaining matchups are pretty good. And what's interesting is that there are 8 teams left. There are 8 seeds left. There's a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a
Wow.
6, a 7, and an 8.
That's really
no
interesting.
duplicates.
Yeah.
One of each. 2 teams that came through the play-in tournament, Miami and the LA Lakers, as the 7 and the 8. Pretty crazy that usually you don't get those kind of upsets in the NBA, but now we've got, I think, great matchups. I mean, Philly-Boston,
Boston's huge.
classic rivalry. You've got Miami-New York, which is, I mean, Miami and New York, they always have that connection on the East Coast. You got the Pat Riley connection. You got tons. Then you've got on the West, Lakers-Warriors is clearly the premier series of what's left. You've got the defending champs against LeBron. You've got 2 California, NorCal against SoCal. And then Nuggets and Suns is Durant against Jokic. And, I mean, you know, what a great series that is. So you really have some great NBA playoffs here remaining in the conference semifinals.
Finally, you ever see a piece of art where you thought, I could have done that?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yes.
But you always want, you say it. It's
Right,
just something
of
you
course.
say.
Well, it's not just any piece of art. It's the ones that they say are like super valuable. Like,
Yeah.
Really? Why?
Well, kind of started what I was reading here. The headline says South Korean student eats $120,000 artwork. And so there was an art display at a museum that students were visiting. And the art display was a banana duct taped to the wall. Just a blank wall, duct tape banana to it. And a young student decided he was going to rip down the banana and peel it and eat it. He then took the peel of the banana, duct taped it back up onto the wall. It was filmed on video, and he said he was hungry.
And now
Skipped
it is
breakfast.
worth $500,000.
Yes.
Do we know what the artist's message or like the meaning
It's
behind
the beauty of art.
the duct tape
Subjective.
banana to the wall?
It
And who came up with that
was
$120,000 figure?
a artist by the name of Maurizio Catalan, and so I guess it's more the idea is the artwork because they were replacing the banana every couple of days.
Yeah, because it will rot.
Which I was like, okay.
So a new banana duct tape to the wall.
Now the student claims that he thought damaging a work of modern art could also be interpreted as art.
You know what? I'm siding with the student.
You can call anything art.
I think putting the eaten banana back on the wall is genius.
That
The
he said
deal is brilliant.
He said that was a joke.
I think it's
How old is this kid?
It doesn't say.
Is it one of those you break it, you buy it situation? So his dad's like, cool, man. Now we have a banana peel
The artist
duct taped to a
and the
wall. in our
museum
home.
said they will not be pressing any charges or anything.
That little SOB went up there,
He got away
peeled
with
it
it.
off, and ate it.
Got away with it.
Do you like art?
It last sold for
I like
$120,000.
some art.
Do you like art?
I'm kind of with Ben. I like some
I mean,
art.
I don't love walking around looking at oil paintings necessarily in a museum.
I mean, it's so subjective. It's like music. I mean, you can hear something, Paulie can hear something, and I can hear something and get two totally different feelings from it. That's what I like about it.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I don't know that I don't really see anything in a store, museum, or anything like that where I'm like, we need that in our house.
I've seen photographs that I'm like, that's
Honestly,
amazing.
most
photographic
art makes me feel like I'm missing something. Like I'm like Frank Lloyd Wright is considered the amazing architect. I always say, oh, that's a Frank Lloyd Wright house. I always look and go, that was an ugly house.
Have you been in one?
No.
My friend in Chicago, Felix, they owned one, and they had like hidden bookshelves, and it was incredible.
I've never been in one. I
You
look at it
lose
from
your
outside and I
mind.
go, I don't want to live in that.
You would lose your mind
Hidden
inside
bookshelves.
of one. Yeah, he had like the disappearing wall. Like it was crazy. Frank Lloyd Wright house. It was really rad. But like I went to the Louvre and we walked around the Louvre and I was like, I mean, these are really talented. I couldn't do it, but it's a bit subjective.
You win
Especially
some,
art
you
like
lose some.
45 minutes.
You win some.
You lose some.
Oh,
I hate you.
I hate it.
All right, we need to look ahead to thank you, Paulie.
Is there anything we can replay?
No, but we got Blake Snell on the mound tonight. Look ahead to the matchup. We got in-season Sammy joining us as well at the bottom of the hour with more Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station. Back after a check of traffic. You're on 97.3 The Fan.
You win some, you lose some. I'm screaming. This guy has lost his mind.
He
Ben
really
Higgins
has.
The light bulb just went off in his head. I was telling him I went to dinner with my wife on Friday. Really, really nice restaurant. And her meat was a little overcooked. And one of the sides was cold. And Ben asked me, well, did you send it back? And I said, no, I didn't send it back. I just wore it. And she wore it. And we just ate it and moved on with our day. And he said, well, you should send it back. And I said, if I send it back, I run the risk of something ending up in there, even at a nice restaurant, that I don't want in there. And the example I used, was I can't say it. Adam hates when I say the word, but it was a hair. And
unwanted
hair from a nether region.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, that's the risk you run.
Right.
Of when you
shouldn't
send
be.
No, you're right.
A
It
good
should
restaurant,
not be.
most restaurants will say, we want to make it right. We want to keep your business. They will happily replace an item that is not up to your standard.
But also overcooked can't just. If it's undercooked, they can
cook it
throw
more.
it back
Zap
on.
it. Yeah, they got to do a whole new
Undercooked,
one.
They got to do a whole new one.
And so I said, no, I don't. And you're right. That should not be the punishment I fear. It'd be like somebody coming up to me tonight at the Padres game and going, hey, I really don't like your show. And me going, well, here, take this, and I'm going to sprinkle this in your, throw this in your beer. The two don't add up.
Right.
But then this dude.
Like sometimes, how people
run your scenario.
Guys especially.
Run your scenario.
Hypothetical conversations. I said, hypothetically, let's say you could have an absolutely free dinner for four, your favorite fancy steakhouse, all the wine, everything included. We're talking probably like a $800 to $1,000 dinner for four people.
Yep, drinks included, the whole thing,
dessert, whole 9 yards. But you knew that in one of the dishes there would be one of those hairs, and there's nothing you could do about it. You just eat. Everyone eats the meal, and you know that one of the four of you ate it.
Me, you.
But the meal's free, completely complimentary.
You, Paul, and Adam.
Yeah.
Go out to
5-star restaurant
steakhouse.
Yeah.
We get mashed potatoes. We get cream spinach.
Salads.
We get asparagus, salads, bread,
souffle,
the steaks.
Yeah. Somewhere in there.
Somewhere
wine,
is just
everything.
one from that.
Angry,
specific area.
Angry someone in the back doesn't like the show, and you knew there was going to be one in there.
He says, do you go still knowing? And it's on the house.
Yeah,
it's free.
Everything's free.
Do you go knowing that is the possibility? I say the answer is a resounding no
you
chance.
Say no,
now,
huh? I'd probably still
do you?
it. I got a 75% chance.
Disgusting.
I got a 75% chance it's not me.
After the meal is completed and the bill is signed and everything,
you find out.
Then do you find out?
That's a good question. If you never find out, you could probably live in your mind going, I'm sure it was one of the other three because I never saw it. I never noticed
and you
it.
can't hunt either for it.
No. But then if you do find out, you're going to know at the end. That make it a little harder.
You will literally eat garbage. If somebody opened a bag of garbage, you would eat it. You're so fancy, but you will eat. You'll even run
all the way.
I wouldn't even like a good deal.
I wouldn't even run the risk, knowing that if it, that's me signing up for to eat one.
The value here is important. I'm not saying like, hey, you have a free cheeseburger from fast food joint, but there's a 50% chance. Someone's spinning it. I'm going to turn that down. I'm talking like a $1,000 meal, like top of the line.
It's not worth it.
Oh, I don't know.
We know where you stand.
Know?
we know where you stand. It's disgusting. Wish Adam would let me say the word.
We all know.
I think we have a commercial that says it, so I don't know what the problem is. We have to go to break.
You just think it's funny because you have that pre-pubescent humor about you. All right, we got in-season Sammy. Get ready for the series against the Reds. He will join us.
It's normally Friday behavior, I will say, not Monday behavior.
When we come back, final segment of Ben and Woods next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Benjamin is he's a walking contradiction. It's so funny. So fancy, spends time at the polo fields, riding in a Rolls Royce, but will open up a garbage can and eat a half of a sandwich out of it.
Have you ever been in a Rolls Royce?
I have not been in a Rolls Royce. I've been in a few limos and things like that, but never in a Rolls. I bet that's very, very fancy.
It's nice. I mean, it's, fancy like any other back of the car fancy.
I drove a Maserati. That was pretty fun.
Ooh, yeah.
That was really fun. But I'm not meant for that because I wouldn't
driven
be here.
A sports car in my
Never
life.
once.
Never once.
I
Got
drove
behind
a
the wheel of a sports car.
76 Corvette Stingray that when you hit the gas, the front end lifted up because the front end weighs 15 pounds. And then you hit the gas, it goes, and I was like, all right. I mean, it's not good for me. I drive way too fast to drive a sports car. But at any rate, I digress. Let's get to our pal Sam.
Yeah, we got Sam Levitt standing by, in season Sammy. We will get to him right after our check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Let's go out to our premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline, where we are joined by in-season Sammy Levitt, the pre- and post-game show host for San Diego Padres baseball, here on 97.3 The Fan. So, Sam, what did you end up doing on your off day on Friday? I talked earlier how you were looking for restaurant recommendations in Encinitas, in that area.
Yeah, I heard that. I did a little exploring, took a drive up the 101, which I've quickly learned is one of my favorite things to do here in San Diego. When you need to clear your head and, just relax for a little bit. I find that drive up the 101 really relaxing. So I went up to Encinitas, Lucadia, and I ate at Le Papagayo. Have you guys ever been there?
Many times, yeah.
I'm a regular there. Good spot.
Had a great lobster bisque
It is
and
good.
a grilled cheese sandwich. Now,
Also good.
I'll admit I've never had lobster bisque before. I'm not a huge lobster guy, but I figured I like clam chowder, New England clam chowder, and it's kind of, well, it's not as thick as that, but kind of, I guess, similar in some ways. It was good. I had a good meal, so shout out to them. Did a good job.
Now, Sammy, we were just talking about this. If you had gone into Le Papagayo and you had ordered the lobster bisque and a grilled cheese sandwich, and the grilled cheese sandwich, let's say it came out, it was a little bit colder than you wanted it. Are you Are you the type to send food back?
That is a fantastic question. I'm really not.
Yeah,
I would
me neither.
say I would say that I would be quicker to just eat it or not eat it. I am very, very tentative to make, a big deal out of
production.
Anything. Like for example, and this happened like a couple of weeks ago to me. Like, if I go order something, like it's happened at coffee shops before, where like on a busy morning, sometimes you'll order a pastry and they don't give it to you, like just with everything going on, they'll forget. And I am quicker to just not take it, not say a word, not bother anybody, than go up and tell them to give me the pastry that I had already paid for. I am more likely not to say a word.
Yeah, you don't mess with my pastries, to be honest. I wouldn't make a fit about it, but I would I'm not leaving there without my pastry.
I don't think there's a problem with it. I think they would rather, most restaurants, most businesses would rather you leave really happy so you come back again than not say anything.
You've never worked in a kitchen once, have you?
Okay,
exactly.
Never
Let's
once.
say
Paulie,
the owner would rather have you leave.
Yes,
happy.
the owner, by the way, who's in Malibu on vacation.
Yeah, but every employee, they don't give a crap about that owner.
I mean, it's rare. It's rare. The one time I sent a dish back, I went to, it was many, many years ago in Chicago. I got an Italian dish and I bit into what was a screw. There was a screw in my dinner. and it came from the saute pan. Like the top screw popped out as they were
Okay, yeah.
sauteing,
All right.
and
I
it
mean,
ended up in my meal. And
yeah.
the guy came over, and I was like, "Sir, is everything okay?" Dude, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry to have to ask you. This is not who I am as a person. I don't, I'd never really make it. I almost just wiped it off and left it on the table. There was a screw in here. He's like, "Oh, dude, I'm so sorry. Let me go get you a new one." I still feel like there was something in there, even though I did nothing wrong at all. And they didn't do anything wrong.
Right. Yeah. It can
Like,
happen. Yeah.
like they say in Breakfast Club, screws fall out all the time. The world's an imperfect place. But yeah, something like that happens. But if it's cold or a little overcooked, I'll just wear it.
Now you go to a baseball game and you don't like it, you can't really send it back. Like, oh, it didn't really like how my team played.
You can
today.
go to Twitter and
Yeah, you can.
whine
Well, no
incessantly.
one would have sent back this weekend's game, Sammy,
Oh,
in Mexico City.
No way.
Pretty
We're keeping
entertaining.
those.
Pretty entertaining baseball. Wouldn't want them all to look like that, but it was fun for this weekend, I'd say.
Yeah, it was really fun. I know the game on Saturday was totally wild, but I'll be honest, I really had a fun time listening to it and watching it. I thought it was great, and to see those guys have so much fun down there and also come away with a couple of wins was great to see. I love seeing Fernando in the City Connect jerseys like you guys were talking about earlier and the emotion they played with. I thought it was interesting after the game on Saturday hearing Manny Machado and Nelson Cruz really talk about that, getting their swagger back. I hope you look back on this Mexico City series, not just as a great experience for the team and a couple of wins, but maybe a couple of days where they could loosen up, get a couple of wins, hit the ball hard with the help of the altitude, and take that momentum into this series against the Cincinnati Reds. The Reds have played a little bit better than what their record indicates. They've won 5 of 6, had a 5-game winning streak snapped yesterday, but this should be a team that with this lineup and going up against Luke Weaver tonight, who struggled, some of the other numbers for their pitchers have not been great lately. This should be the kind of series where you take 2 of 3 or you sweep it and you hopefully keep that offense rolling. So that becomes now obviously the huge question. Can they take the momentum from what was a good road trip? I mean, they went 6-3. I know they're technically home games in Mexico City, but a 6-3 trip, the offense waking up, the bullpen's doing pretty well here, especially Josh Hader. I tweeted out just ridiculous numbers on him going back to last September earlier today, how good he's been. You hope they can take the momentum now into this series and into this homestand, obviously with the excitement tonight of having Fernando back as well.
It's such a big start tonight for Blake Snell. You know, we talked about it, Sammy. You've seen every start, as have we. You know, you don't want to be that guy on the team that your team never wins when he's pitching. Now, You grew up in New York. You followed the Mets. This was the Jacob deGrom scene for many. For some reason, the Mets would forget how to hit when he pitched. Maybe they were so captivated by his brilliance on the mound, they would never score any runs, and he'd be 4-12 with a 1.30, and they could never win a game. This isn't that. I mean, Blake's ERA is high. He walks a lot of guys, but you don't want to be that weak link forever. Even though Bob Melvin said it on our show Friday. He said, "Quote, yeah, Blake is a notoriously slow starter. This team, the Reds, this would be the best night to get back on track if you're Blake Snell."
Yeah, it really would be. And to me, tonight's start begins and ends the story for Blake Snell. It starts with the walks. 5 walks in 2 of the last 3 outings, 18 walks in 23 innings this season. And guys, not only is it putting traffic on the bases, which makes you more susceptible to give up runs, but it's a big part of the reason why the last 2 outings, Blake couldn't go beyond 5 innings. If you're not walking as many guys and you're more economical with your pitches. The thing I'm watching tonight as well, and this is an interesting number, opposing hitters are batting .404 against his 4-seam fastball so far this season. You wonder if that's due to a lack of command with some of the other pitchers and being able to hone in on that fastball.
Yeah,
So
I think
it's
that's
just-
at 100%.
Hold
Sam.
on. Opposing hitters are batting .404 off of his fastball.
Yeah, that's because they're just looking at
They're
anything with
hunting
break.
fastball.
Anything with break, they just lay off. You know what? It's a slider. Just don't swing because it's probably diving below the zone. Sit fastball. That's all they're doing on Blake. Every single pitch. And if he can't get those off-speed pitches in for strikes, He's going to struggle.
And that's the funny thing, guys, is because what do we hear every time, like when they'll do the pregame, all right, and then Mud and Don will talk about, hey, throw your fastball. You got to establish your fastball. Not if you can't get one other pitch over.
Right.
You got to find at least two. I know the changeup goes into timeout from time to time, but if he could just focus on fastball,
if he
changeup,
gets ahead and you got 2 strikes, all of a sudden they can't not swing. When that curveball's coming, that slider is coming down, they swing over the top of it. That's why he gets so many strikeouts. Once he gets 2 strikes,
he can put them away.
He's really tough. But when he falls behind, they just sit fastballs. Like, you see break, don't swing. Don't swing. It's too hard to hit.
404 on his four seam is nuts.
Yeah. It's a number I read this morning, and yeah, I mean, you guys broke it down nicely there. I think when you look at the walks and then you see that number, it all kind of makes sense together. So look, the bottom line, whether it's the fastball or the breaking stuff for Blake, it's got to be about throwing strikes, because we know when he's in the zone, I mean, he is awfully hard to hit. And it means he can go deeper into games. Look, I'll say this as well. We heard from Blake after his last start in Chicago. He seemingly feels really good about where he's at and the progress he continues to make. You hope that, continues to translate into these games where he cuts down on the walks. But look, I've been encouraged by what he said and how he's feeling. This is a guy, as we know, that typically in the second half of the year, turns it on, and we see this very, very dominant version of him. So hopefully the way he's feeling and what he's been saying after these games translates into that second half version of Blake Snell arriving sooner than it did last year.
Talking to pre and post game show host Sam Levitt here on Ben and Woods, and I got a question for all of you: Sam, Woods, Paul, even myself. So this weekend's games in Mexico City, maybe it was because they didn't have the technology built into the stadium. I don't know if they ever addressed it on the Bally Sports telecast, but they didn't have the strike zone box on the games like they normally do. So you had to kind of just judge the old-fashioned way, whether pitches were strikes or balls. And I'm surprised because I kind of liked it. I usually like more information. I like seeing it, but I also feel like we get sometimes too caught up in the ones that are like barely touch the zone that are a strike. And it's like, oh my God, they didn't call that one a strike, or the ones that are called a strike that are half a millimeter off. Those were always kind of 50-50s in the past, and now we expect perfection from the umpires.
Hated it.
I didn't mind that it was gone. What did you got? You hated? You wanted it back?
Yeah, I hated every second because I felt lost. I've gotten so accustomed to seeing that box there that I needed it. I was really, really missing it.
I noticed it on like the second pitch.
Second pitch. Like, where's the box?
See, now I wouldn't mind if there's a pit. They don't have the box live. And then there's one that's like, hey, call that one a strike. Then they can quickly show, oh, all right, yeah, he did miss that one totally, and confirm what I already thought.
Like a late arriving box?
I would like the ability to see it after the fact, but
box or no box?
I don't necessarily need it the whole time. Sammy, what do you think?
It's funny you bring this up because I didn't even notice on the TV broadcast until at some point yesterday that the box wasn't there. Now, admittedly, I've got a lot of stuff going on during the game, and I'm primarily listening to the radio broadcast because a little behind the scenes. We hear Jesse and Tony in real time in the studio, right? And so that's a good, 10, 15 seconds ahead of the TV. So, I very often I'm listening, and then if I need to look up at the TV to watch something, I do it. And then there was one point yesterday where Jesse, I think, was talking about a close pitch, and I looked up and I said, oh, that's interesting. The box isn't there. So I didn't really notice it. I don't mind not having it. I don't know. I don't have a super strong opinion either way, but I didn't notice it until yesterday. And I'm okay without it.
I hated it. I need that, like, because there were so many borderline pitches, especially, outer parts of the plate. I'm like, no idea.
Marco, who's a tier 1 member on our YouTube stream, says it makes me more angry when a strike is clearly a ball. I did enjoy the game more. It does take some of that just constant ire we're feeling toward umpires.
Something you don't know about.
That's true. What I don't know won't hurt me, I guess. I don't know, man. It's just, again, I'm a creature of comfort, and that there's a certain comfort. I felt uncomfortable watching because I just couldn't tell what the top of the zone was. And I've got eyes. I can see it. I played baseball. I know what the zone is.
We watched it for 40 some years of our life.
I never remember the game. I never
there.
remember the game without it. I don't remember the game
We
without
didn't
it.
even have a scoreboard to show what the count was or the
I
people
know.
on base. You had to keep it all in your head
Dude,
the entire
I know.
time.
I know. I just
Sam and Paul don't remember that as well as we do.
I never want to see it missing again. I never want to see
NBA games were like crazy. No clock, no score, nothing on the screen. Like
anybody's guess.
I don't even watch this back in the day. And then they put all the graphics on and everyone hated them at the beginning. Like, oh my God, you're just cluttering up the screen with all this information. Try living without it now. It's crazy now.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I hated it.
Oh. All right. Someone, anything else for Sammy?
That's it. That's
We
all I
good to
got
go?
for you, Sammy.
All right,
Have
Sam.
a great time tonight.
see you out
Tatis
there.
returns. We'll see you out there, buddy.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. I have not seen Fernando Tatis Jr. play in person during my time with the Padres here. So the last time I saw Fernando play in person was when he was playing at Double-A with the San Antonio Missions back in the day. I was in Corpus Christi.
I think you were ahead of Bob Melvin at that point.
Yeah.
Who had never seen him until this road trip either. So
Right. So I'm really excited for that. I do have one final thing to say to you guys, though. It's gonna it's gonna be May.
I got to block.
Bye, guys.
I got to block
Have a good
Sam.
day. Happy May 1st.
I have to block.
No, that goes all the way back
Oh
to our
my
first few
God.
minutes at 6 a.m.
What a
when
tier
Woods
one he is.
Says he hates the Justin Timberlake
hate
meme that I had to be explained what it was about. It's going to be May. It's not going to be me. It's going to be May. Now it is May. It's no longer going to be May. May is here. May Gray.
How dare he?
Stunning.
I can't.
that there is no sun out in San Diego on May 1st.
Sammy couldn't do anything to make me block. Nothing. Somebody did.
But that was dangerously close.
Dangerously close. Somebody tweeted in, sorry, Sammy, your new nickname is now Sammy Clam Chowder.
Sammy Clam Chowder.
That's a terrible nickname.
I like Sammy Bisque.
Oh. All right. We're almost done.
Sam and all of our guests appear on the
Mercifully.
Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. Yeah, 6:40 first pitch tonight, 5:40 pregame show. Blake Snell against Luke Weaver.
About a 7.7 ERA or something out of Luke Weaver.
Two struggling pitchers, yet they're both going to be at sea level at Petco Park. It still won't look as like it did the last couple of days.
Excited, man. It's going to be a big night at Petco Park for the Kings' return. And all right, that's our bet. Bomb, yes or no? It's your choice
for
now.
me,
No,
that's-
it's my choice.
It is.
It is my choice.
All right, then that's the bet. Yes or no?
Does Fernando Tatis go yard tonight?
Yeah.
Yes.
You do. All right,
Yeah.
good for you.
I'll take yes.
I know that's probably the more out on a limb selection,
is.
but you're going to feel real good about it if it comes true.
Yeah,
So,
I'm plus 10 on you. So
I'm fine with that.
All right.
All right. And the whiteboard is behind me that keeps our running tab
Yeah, $10 bet.
of our weekly, daily, whatever, $10 bets.
$10 bets.
Series bets generally.
Yeah,
But we
usually
can do-
series.
We can do them whenever we want, I guess. It's
It's our
bet.
show.
It's
Yeah,
our
we can do
limit.
whatever we want.
We don't have to, we can do whatever we want.
All right, we're going to go down today and get some stories for you guys. Going to be down at Petco Park. Excited to get down there. See you guys tonight out there. If you see us, say hello, please. If you don't like us, don't throw things at us, but say hello. We're going to be down there representing, and should be a good one. Going to be chilly, a bit nipply out there.
Yeah, it's supposed to be in like the low 60s and then upper 50s as the sun goes down. Not summer yet.
No, it's not.
I know it's the month of Memorial Day, but it's just Paulie's favorite holiday.
Yes.
But we're not quite to the nice weather portion of the year yet.
I mean, you got to win these games. Beat the Reds.
Yeah,
Beat the
at
Reds.
least take the series. 2
Yeah,
out of
take
3.
the series.
Sweep would be nice.
Sweep would be fantastic.
Got to win the first one.
Got to win the first.
All right, that'll do it for us. Good show on a Monday. Good
Yeah, very
start.
good.
Thanks you to our guest, Jordan Schusterman, Sam Levitt there for joining us. Coach John Quintero will be coming up next. Thanks to all of the tier ones who've been joining us either on the radio, on the Odyssey app, or on the YouTube stream. Great interactions this morning. Very impressed. Thank you all.
You guys rule, man.
All right, for Stephen Woods and Paul Reindl, I'm Ben Higgins. We'll be back tomorrow morning from 6 to 10 a.m. once again to break down tonight's game at Petco Park on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Have a great rest of your Monday, everybody.